Hello! Hello again! I am going to stream Ever 17 again. We are now on day 6 of me doing this. So yeah, let's have a summary. Brian wrote this summary, so this is easy for me to just read. Okay, so the group moved from denial about their situation into depression, and the way that people have been working that out has been Coco has 2 screwdrivers and went berserker barrage on a statue, and she carved effigies of all of them so that there's a record of them having been down there. Kid had a meltdown, and Takeshi had to almost slap him, but he didn't. He didn't slap him, and he said life is worth living, where Tsugumi disagreed with him, and to prove her point, she squeezed the hamster into chimichurri sauce, only to reveal that he also is immortal. And Tsugumi's backstory is revealed. She is actually 24, and her blood carries a virus that makes her immortal. Tsugumi was in the hospital facility with a kid who has amnesia, sounds familiar, who can see the future. Is it the kid? But Takeshi was too dumb to ask. Okay, so that's our summary. Things are pretty interesting. I feel like we're going to end her chapter probably soon. It seems like it's wrapping up. Hopefully we can escape. Let's see. Alright, just making sure I'm ready to go here. Okay. So this is just after we had a really awful time hearing about Tsugumi's past, and now we're here. Soon after, it was night. In the conference room, you, Coco, and Pipi were waiting. Even the kid. It looked like the kid had calmed down some. While I'd been gone, it seemed that you and Coco had been able to talk some sense into him. You told me that he'd probably been upset by a reoccurring memory and had gotten worked up in spite of himself. I felt that I'd gotten out of hand and had said some terrible things myself. I went around to everyone there and apologized. Soon afterwards, a report came to us in the conference room directly from Le Mise Terminal. You read out all the contents to all of us. Okay, Korsmischer wall. Okay, I don't know what area that is. Okay, 3rd floor, Dritterstock partition schematic. The Cosmic Whale. That's what that means. The Cosmic Whale room had flooded completely. Oh, I like that room. Casualties? None. Flooding to the other rooms? None. Chance of damage spreading? None. Shivering slightly in the cold, I wrapped my arms around my knees and we all went to sleep. It's May 6th, Saturday! And it's 7:16 a.m. The sound of boiling, bubbling oil filled the room. Oh, no, we're gonna talk about fucking tuna sandwiches again. Okay. I fried the tuna in silence. After getting up, we all gathered in front of the sandwich shop as usual. As luck would have it, someone showed up at the same time. I guess I could have called it lucky. You, Coco, and Kid, they're not saying anything. Neither is Sora, Tsugumi. Pipi says nothing. Hardly anyone said anything. Everyone had glum expressions on their faces and ate silently. There was a strange atmosphere surrounding us. For some reason, it had become so hard for us to look one another in the eyes. It felt like the beginning of a bottomless rift amongst us. And at the same time, there was a strange smell in the air. Was it tuna sandwiches? Sizzle! Ah! There was smoke coming off the tip of my finger! Oh god. Smoke! Smoke! Ah! That's hot! I had been firmly pressing it against the grill! I hastily cut the power. A juicy smell, not unlike sausage, was coming from the burnt tip of my finger. Oh my god, this is awful. Ow, that hurts! I'm such an idiot. As I blew on my finger to cool it off, I looked around at everyone. No one's saying nothing. They had noticed, but they all turned their gazes down. Pipi is like, yeah. Only Pipi was kind enough to acknowledge me. Yeah, Pipi, I burnt myself pretty good, hahaha. But soon even Pipi turned his face away from me. Hey, it seemed like everyone hated me. I felt totally alone. The sandwich I had just finished cooled off, and soon it was no longer palatable. It felt like the morning after a funeral. Everyone knew why things had sunk so low. Everyone knew, but nobody wanted to say anything. The moment of carelessness had opened our hearts up to despair. They shoveled the tuna sandwiches into their mouths in silence. After we were all finished eating, everyone went to the conference room. It's 8:09 a.m. There's an important reason why I've called all of you here. There is something that I wanted to inform you about as soon as possible. I know it is difficult, but it is important for you to accurately realize the full gravity of this situation. Please don't panic, settle down, and listen carefully. Sora paused for a second. Sora looked at all 5 of us in turn, you, Tsugumi, Coco, and the kid, and myself. The conference room was silent. But I could hear somewhere the sound of water coming faintly. Was it water lapping in the hallways? Moments later, I couldn't hear it anymore. As if Sora was waiting for that cue, she slowly opened her mouth. The situation is not good. Sora extended her hand and a holographic window appeared a space in front of us. Felt like I hadn't seen her do that for a while. Currently, there are no areas that show signs of new flooding. Since the flooding of the Cosmic Whale area into Dritterstock last night, there have been no further reports of significant damage. The burden being placed on Lemu's support columns have increased due to the flooding. The structural distortion between floors is increasing. If this continues, Lemu will eventually lose its equilibrium and tilt dramatically. If the damage across the areas connecting the floors or different sectors increases, there is the possibility that a pipe leak could flood the dry sectors. In other words, we cannot afford to be careless. Things are critical. I think I told you this before. Implosion of Lemu is estimated to occur at 4:30 a.m. on May 7th. The calculation of his margin of error plus or minus 12 hours. There's no significant change in this prediction. In one area, the strength limits of partitions have already been exceeded. The destruction of Lemu will be gradual, but it will inevitably and steadily occur. It is only a matter of time. Sora told all of this with a calm look on her face. We all swallowed and held our breaths as we listened. We knew that we were reaching our time limit. We had no choice but to accept that reality. There was no avoiding the situation. Presently, the power generator is functioning normally. However, if by chance there is a blackout, we will switch to the emergency power source battery. This is generally meant for supporting the emergency lighting and maintenance on Lemu's system. It should last for about 2 hours. Sora's matter-of-fact way of speaking only raised the tension in our minds. For you, Coco, Kid, Pipi, and even Tsugumi. Everyone was listening calmly to what Sora had to say. No one was panicking yet. In the previous night, Tsugumi's yells had pierced my heart, yet her bitter bullet didn't come out my back but remained lodged inside as a constant reminder. She refused to look at me. Instead, Tsugumi just stared blankly in front of her. Perhaps that was for the best, but I had other things to worry about. I turned back to the situation at hand, listening carefully to Sora's report. The normal communication channels are still not functioning, nor have I found an escape route. However, I have made protecting you my top priority, and Lemu is devoting all of its resources to that objective. I am also using all sensors, lights, manipulators, and means at my disposal outside of the complex, and I am still investigating whether there are any means of communicating with the outside using light, radio, or sound. Sora nodded her head, straightened her back, and surveyed the room. We were all silent. There was a look of determination in her eyes. Let me say one more thing. That as long as I, Akanagasaki Sora, exist, and while my powers are limited, as long as you are here, I will do my utmost to find a way for you to escape to safety. We do not have much longer together, but I, Akanagasaki Sora, am at your service, she concluded with a serious nod. We also nodded in agreement. We must wait and believe that help is on its way. Sora's serious expression gave way to a smile. Everyone, let's pray for a safe rescue. The gloomy atmosphere that had been hanging over the gathering lightened. Okay. And everyone started thinking about how they should spend their time. Sora's smile instilled everyone with courage. I was grateful for that piece of code in Sora's program, the function that allowed for her to be calm in times of trouble. It is 10:51 a.m. We transferred to the rest area. Everyone found a seat around the central stage. A ripple ran through the water on the floor. A wave washed back and forth from wall to wall. This is serious. What are we gonna do? I didn't have any answers. A few quiet discussions were going on. Yet, from where I stood, it seemed the more people spoke, the murkier the answers became. From the beginning, it was the same debate repeated over and over again. Should we wait for help? Should we seek an escape route? All I could do was look to the ceiling. There was no sign that any bright ideas were on their way to my head. We were just waiting for the walls and ceiling to come crumbling down. Ah! What happened, kid? Everyone, be careful! Don't move! Don't stand up! A deep moan rumbled through the room as the floor began to shake. A wave of fear ran through us. And soon the shaking had ceased. You... Don't worry, it's okay! Right, Sora? Yes, the shaking just now was... I believe it was due to a large amount of activity from the thermal vents on the ocean floor. It should only be temporary. But her facial coloring still hadn't returned to normal. Everyone looked around the room, exchanging glances, and just like that, nervous tension filled the room again. Not again. I decided to take charge. Alright, listen up, everyone! I rose to my feet and shouted to everyone. Listen, just stay where you all are! I'm going to check the kiosk on the second floor. Everyone looked shocked as I yelled. Even some jaws dropped. They may have been half put off by me, but still, I didn't concern myself with that. No matter how stupid it seemed, I continued. I'm going to grab some snacks for everyone. There's plenty up there, and we should still be able to eat it. It'll be a pain to go get it later, and it doesn't make sense for them to go to waste. Alright, we're gonna go eat there. And let's have a good time. Oh, that's right. Does anyone want beer? What? But... You raised her hand timidly. But we don't sell alcohol at the Lemu kiosks. We had a lot of complaints about customers having bad hangovers due to the difference in air pressure down here. That's too bad. Well, hardly of you look like you could hold your drink anyway. I guess it'll have to be juice. Excuse me, Takeshi? Next it was the kid who raised his hand. There's probably plenty of drinks at the tuna sandwich shop. That way you don't have to go above. There's canned juice and paper cups. Why don't I go get them? Alright, kid, you do that. Alright, leave it to me. The kid laughed. It seemed he was over the events from the day before. Hey, let me help! An excited Coco raised her hand, volunteering. Woof, woof. I think Pipi wants to help too. Great! Alright, let's go and get the supplies. Sora, do we still have time? You asked Sora this in a small voice. I am sorry. I am not able to run an accurate simulation. There may not be much time, but we will be safe until 2 p.m. I can guarantee that. Sora replied casually. Alright. You nodded and looked up. Kid, you ready? Let's grab all the drinks we can carry. Okay, let's go. Oh, that's right. You slammed her fist into her palm excitedly and looked about the room. What about Tsugumi? Tsugumi, huh? Oh, she's not here. What? I frantically surveyed the room as well, but Tsugumi was nowhere in sight. Where the heck did she go? And when did she leave? I believe Komachi-san slipped out of here just a short while ago. She seems to have left for the second floor. Well, there's nothing we can do. She'll be back soon, right, Kurinari? Yeah. Okay, everyone, let's get ready to party. Okay. All right. Yes. Woof woof. Yeah. Let's party. Woof woof. I had only thrown out the idea as a way to lighten the mood, and before I knew it, we'd had ourselves a full-blown party in the making. Well, whatever. It was better than having everyone moping around. Soon Coco, Pipi, and I left to get food, and we took the emergency stairs. La 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 la. La 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 la. Woof! As soon as we climbed the stairs, Coco sang some crazy song. I'm glad I did that accurately. Okay. You seem like you're in a good mood, Coco.
Well, you know, I just get excited sometimes. Looks like we've come to the climax. The damsel in distress is in a pinch, and waltzes our dashing hero. Young lady, are you alright? Are you not injured? And there is our masked villain. I can't forgive you for this, you evil scoundrel. Using my neutrino energy power, I'll kill you. Ayya! Oh, I can pretend, can't I? Huh? Taki-pyan, are you fed up with me?
Oh, Coco. No!
So, you think I'm just a silly girl, don't you? Ah, so sad. But you want to see what kind of parents could have raised me.
No, it's not that. Not at all. I mussed up her hair affectionately.
If I were in a pinch like that, I'm sure someone would come to my rescue. I just can't help but think of how wonderful that could be. You know, what's wrong with dreaming like that?
Yeah, you're right. You know, to tell you the truth, I'm thinking the same way. I think that someone might come to rescue us. I don't know about the neutrino stuff, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Ruff, ruff. We wanted to believe that a hero was on the way. And that went for Coco, Pipi, and me, too. We reached the second floor. We turned down the corridor and entered the souvenir shop. Someone had beaten us there.
Hey, is that you, Tsugumi?
Yes. I was shocked to see her. I totally blanked and went speechless. Is there a reason I shouldn't be here? Tsugumi spit out her words coldly. It was the typical way she talked.
No, not at all. Tsugumi, how about you help us out?
Well, alright. I don't suppose I really have a choice. Tsugumi nodded reluctantly. So, what should I do, Coco?
Well, let's see.
Tsugumi glanced at me. She didn't say anything and looked away quickly. Her eyes seemed dead. Thinking about it made me sad. Alright, 11:41 a.m. 1 hour later. We began our party in an elevated part of the rest area. Even without alcohol, the party was pretty lively. Kid and I distributed the snacks and drinks to everyone. And it was then that you volunteered to provide some entertainment. Oh, cool. Oh, I see. First, she performed an impersonation of strange old archaeologists who had a talent for cracking a whip. Then Coco came out with a makeshift sumo outfit and stomped her feet on the stage. Sora kept busy filling the room with hologram projections of rainbows. Oh, Jesus Christ, how basic. Then the rainbow-colored bubbles that floated from the water surface through the air were particularly pretty. After that, Tsugumi joined us. She added a little magic to the show as she dropped her hamster in her skirt pocket only to have it reappear in her breast pocket. That really impressed the crowd. Cool, I guess. Although I knew about her hamster Chami, many didn't even know Tsugumi kept a pet. Then Kid and I performed a comedy skit. Oh good, we got some manzai comedy duo happening here. Which, we pulled out one-liners and impromptu gags, which got huge laughter from everyone. Alright, it is noon 55 p.m. Thank you very much. Thanks! Kid and I exited the stage to thunderous applause.
That was great!
That was absolutely wonderful! It's better than I expected. Those two were perfect together! No, thank you. Actually, I was surprised that you poked fun at yourself using the truth about losing your memory as a gag. This is where we're at. Dark realizations. Oh my god. Well, that's just how our skip flowed. It fit perfectly into our act. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, it looks like I've got nothing more to teach you, so go ahead and follow in my comedy footsteps. Sorry, I've already forgotten everything you taught me. Well, that's too bad. You should at least take notes. Notes! But never fear. I ain't taught you nothing yet. Is that true? And that was about it. The party gradually wound down. And then I took a trip back to the tuna sandwich stand and brought sandwiches back for everyone. We all munched on hot sandwiches. These are so good! It wasn't exactly my ideal breakfast food, but everyone happily downed their meals. Food. If Leimu collapsed soon, I thought that this could be everyone's last meal. Everyone understood that and yet said nothing. No. Everyone understood, which is why they said nothing. Tsugumi. After finishing my sandwich, I got the nerve to speak to Tsugumi. What? What do you want, Takeshi? Tsugumi crouched on the stage. I crouched behind her and looked to see what she was doing. There, Tsugumi was drawing something on the stage with a thick marker. As usual, Tsugumi didn't look at me. Well, it's... She stopped scribbling for a moment and I decided to come out to say what I had to say. About yesterday. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, but... What is it? I don't really know what you're talking about. Tsugumi was curt in her responses. Tsugumi? You're joking, right? There's no way you could have forgotten. I know I haven't. That's not something you can just simply forget about. I realize that it's not something you want to talk about casually, but... Her eyes wandered the room for a moment, and then she looked down again at the scribbles that she had been drawing. I don't really care. I don't care about what happened yesterday. So, would you please stop talking about it? Don't say anything. Tsugumi went back to her drawing on the stage floor. I'm trying to think of a way to get out of here too. So, don't bother me. Tsugumi refused to look at me as she spoke. After that, I felt a little put off. Okay. I stood up and I left her there. I walked over to where Sora was. Hey, Sora. Hello! What may I help you with, Kuronari-san? Sora smiled softly when she looked at me. Nothing much. I just have a lot on my mind. Right now, Limit is handling operations and will alert me if any troubles arise. Limit is also currently continuing investigation of means of escape as well as communication with the outside. So please, do not worry. Thanks, Sora. That helps. Can I ask what time it is? I need to set it on my... No problem. The current time is... Hold on for a sec. I took my PDA out from my pocket. Just then... Excuse me, Sora? Yes, Komachi-san. What is on your mind? Tsugumi was suddenly standing right between Sora and I. Her smile seemed a little forced. There's something I want to talk to you about. Alone. In private? Yes, please. Actually, I have a proposal. An idea of how to escape from here. Yes, really? Have you come up with a good method? Yes, I might be able to help in some way. I want to hear from you whether or not my idea is feasible. Huh? Hey, Tsugumi, hold on. Sora is... Shut up, Takeshi. Tsugumi held out her hand as if stopping my mouth in motion. I want to speak to Sora. Alone. Surely you don't mind? Of course! Then we will speak in the central room. Central control room. Alright, let's go then. The two of them got down from the stage and set off with a very serious look on their face. Hey, wait, you two, what about us? Why can't you just talk here? Takeshi! Tsugumi turned around and shot a sharp glare at me. Her eyes were like ice. I told you to shut up, didn't I? Sora and Tsugumi turned their backs to me and left together. The room suddenly fell silent. What the hell? What the hell is going on here? I felt alone. Balling up the sandwich wrapper, I threw it as hard as I could. Splash! The wrapper fell into the water, creating a series of ripples. Kuronari, what do you think you're doing? You shouldn't litter, you know. I picked up the wrapper out of the water and twisted it around her finger. Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter at this point anyway.
Oh, not that again. Quit sulking, pal.
I'm not sulking. If you say so. You shrugged and let out a deep sigh. Alright. I glanced over to the corner of the room as she saw Coco and Kid climbing a statue. Looking over at them, you and I sat down on a circular stage.
The reason is totally obvious. You don't have to say anything. Even if you look fine, I know it's just for show. And I know you're depressed, Kurinari.
Well, it's because I am. I mean, it isn't like that. It's not like that at all. Sorry. What's this because?
Obviously, you're hiding something. You said because. That's a little strange, don't you think? Come on, try to prove me wrong.
I was pretending I was fine. Even I knew the reason was obvious. I was worried about her. You let out another fake sigh again.
Well, if you're not going to tell me, do you mind if I ask a question?
Go ahead. As you wish. That time, I was the one to sigh.
Okay, here I go.
Well, hurry up already.
What are you so angry about?
I'm not angry about anything.
Okay.
The Kid and Pipi were playing sumo. Coco was the referee. I was watching them as you spoke.
Hey, Kurinari? About Tsugumi's injury. It's healing really quickly. She didn't even need stitches, you know? Tsugumi seems like she leads a normal life, just like you and me. And I try not to worry too much about her and just accept things as I see them, but that just isn't normal.
She looked down at her feet when she spoke.
Have you heard about Tsugumi's condition?
No, I haven't. Wait, I might have.
You can be really vague sometimes, you know? Which one is it?
I'm sorry. I forgot.
You forgot? So you're one of those indecisive types of guys, huh? Come on, say something.
I was silent. I figured it was something between just Tsugumi and me, and I didn't really know enough about her condition to say, yeah, I know something. I was still having a difficult time believing the whole thing. Even when I saw it with my own eyes, part of my brain refused to accept it.
Let's just drop it. You really did forget, didn't you? Well, I guess there's nothing we can do about it.
How come you asked me about it?
I wonder why.
You said that sarcastically, playing dumb. And then a serious look formed on her face.
The truth is, when I was looking at Limit, I came upon some interesting information in the medical database. It was from the Liblic Pharmaceuticals database.
Liblic Pharmaceuticals? Database?
I think they used it during the treatment in the infirmary, but...
Coco and Pipi, I could hear their splashes, their running or echo.
When I scoured the database, I couldn't believe what I read. A body that doesn't grow old. A mutated body type because of a virus. It shakes the foundations of modern science. I might have found something related to Tsugumi's condition. In the database, I searched through a number of old medical reports, and I found one that mirrors Tsugumi's condition. Generally speaking, the number of known cases of the virus is very small.
What?
Hey, hold on!
Just, how come Leimu has that kind of information?
I don't know, why ask me? All I know is the data and the name of the virus.
The name of the virus?
Yeah, the name. It's called... Cure.
Okay. I don't remember this. Cure, I guess is the name. Alright. Cure? Cure. I pondered the word for a moment. Just then... Everyone, we've got trouble! The kid came running into the room yelling. Where the heck did you just go? Trouble? What kind of trouble? Come on, we gotta stop it! The kid was breathing heavily, yelling between breaths. Stop what? Hey, explain what's going on.
What happened? Woof!
Coco and Pipi had come over to see what all the commotion was about. The central control room! Sora and Tsugumi were gone for such a long time. I went to go find them, and then I found them fighting. I just couldn't watch, so This is bad news. At a time like this?
Let's go! We've gotta stop them!
Yeah, we better hurry! Woof woof! Zoom. Okay, so it's 1:27 p.m. The kid, Coco, Pipi, you, and we sped along the wet floor of the central control room.
Sora! Tsugumi!
I pushed the button to open the door. We burst into the room. Tsugumi and Sora were in the middle of an argument so intense that it seemed that they might start going at it hand to hand. I wonder how that would work. Come on. Neither of them would budge. They just glared at one another. Okay. It's battle of wits. Let me take a sip. Okay. It looked as though they'd been fighting for several minutes. The room was filled with tension.
Beneath us? There aren't any floors underneath Dritterstock. We can't go down any further.
Liar. You're lying. I saw it down from Qual, and borrowing your eyes, I was able to access Lemu, and it took a while, though. I finally got proof. There is another floor under Lemu. No, there's another facility other than Lemu, and it's right below us, really far down. I'm right, aren't I?
I can't answer that question.
Don't tell me. Just don't tell me that. Just answer me. I did a Turing test, and I found out that you really are an AI. As long as you aren't blocked by a protection routine, you have to answer humans' questions honestly, right? That's part of your functioning. It is impossible to get there using normal elevators. The only way is through a locked door. That room. Himmel. That's your name, isn't it, Sora? We aren't getting anywhere just sitting around. We're fighting against time. The truth is behind that door. Tell us the password to that door. The one leading to Himmel, Sora. It is true. Himmel in German means sky, my name. But Komachi-san, I don't have security access to open that door. I'm sorry. That is a lie.
It is not.
Some AI you are. You think I'm stupid? You think you can fool me?
It is not a lie. I am telling you the truth. I don't have that information, any information about what's behind that door. Stop it!
Coco jumped between them.
Stop it, both of you!
Both of them flinched for a moment but continued to look bitter.
Coco-chan!
Coco.
Stop it, okay? Please!
Coco-chan, this is... Coco-chan, this is between Komachi-san and I. Get back, Coco, or I'm really going to get mad.
Why? Tsugumi! Sora-san, stop it! Why are you arguing?
This isn't an argument. We aren't.
You're lying! It's a lie! You shouldn't be fighting!
Large tears welled and flowed from Coco's eyes. They both fell silent. Tears had a freezing effect on Sora and Tsugumi. Coco started gasping. She suddenly ran to the corner of the console, or rather, fell there. She leaned against the console, barely able to support herself. Coco's body was shaking slightly. Her lips trembled. I could see that her lips rapidly had gone pale. It was different than crying. Coco! Hey, what? What's up with you all of a sudden? Uh-oh! It's red. Flash of red on the software. Uh-oh. Ah! Coco's lips were suddenly stained red. Coco! The kid opened his eyes wide, looking shocked. Uh-oh! We get a special illustration. Coco's bleeding from the mouth. Coco! Blood was flowing onto the floor of the control room. It wouldn't stop. It kept falling from her mouth. What's happening? Coco-chan! Coco shook her head and trembled violently. She had her hand to her mouth, desperately trying not to cough.
It can't be! These symptoms are...
Sora looked as if she was about to panic. Symptoms? Who cares about symptoms? Tsugumi screamed furiously. Can't you tell if this keeps up, Coco's going to... Coco, hang in there! Kurenari, what are we gonna do? Wait, don't panic. Everyone just calm down. I screamed out loud, screamed out in a loud voice to everyone. Calm down, calm down! Oh wait, maybe I need to calm down too. Everyone took deep breaths trying to settle down. Coco, just relax. You're going to be okay.
I'm alright, Take-pyeon.
Steadying her trembling eyes, Coco looked at me firmly. Alright, good, okay. Now, hang on to me, Coco. I turned around and thrust my back out towards her. Can you get on?
Yeah.
The dog is whining. Pipi looked up at Coco worriedly. We're going to the infirmary on Zweiter.
Oh, okay.
Woof woof! I realized that I was holding onto Coco. We were rushing up to Zweiterstock, some 17 meters above us. I held Coco on my back with you and Tsugumi supporting her from the sides. Sora led the way and the kid brought up the rear. We emerged at the second floor emergency corridor. Which way is it, left or right?
Straight ahead.
Okay. Don't run so fast. Stop shaking her so much. I know, just pipe down, would you? Coco was groaning in pain on my back, but I could still make it. There was no way I was going to fail. I wasn't going to say, it's no use, we're too late. I wasn't going to let anyone else say it either. As long as there was some hope left, I wouldn't give up. I took a shortcut to the nearest elevator and rushed Coco to the infirmary. Alright, it's 1:50 p.m. I'm going to scan her, so put her up on the table. You pointed to the LMRI. Tsugumi and I laid Coco down on the flat table. Coco continued to breathe in short, shallow manner. Although she had stopped coughing up blood, she seemed to be in a lot of pain. Her body lay still. The arm of the LMRI came to life and started its laser scan. The kid came up to the side of the table and stared at Coco, looking as if he would burst into tears. Sora, put the results on a screen so everyone can see them.
Okay.
Suddenly, a few holographic windows appeared in the air. Images including thermal scan, ultrasound analysis, cross-sectional representations of her body, and laser sampling were all displayed one after the other. Of course, none of us were doctors, so there was little we could do to understand her condition by looking at the pictures. All we could do was wait for the scanning equipment of Lemur's system to give us an answer. We stared at the images that flashed by on the screen and prayed. Then, the results suddenly appeared. Tiefblau, 2017, Rev.17.
Tiefblau!
What? What did you say?
No.
Sora hurriedly shut down the holographic window. She bit her lip and stared down at shock. Her expression showed how serious the situation was. Sora. What's wrong, Sora? If you don't tell us, we don't know what's going on.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
What don't you believe?
Coco-chan's been infected.
Infected? What?
It's...
Sora was unable to suppress her agitation and opened her mouth hesitantly.
Tiefblau. It is a powerful virus with a very high mortality rate.
Tiefblau? Tiefblau. A virus that was totally different than the one that Tsugumi had?
Coco!
Kid ran over to Coco's side and held on to the table.
Coco, hold on!
No, don't you die on me! He held onto Coco's arm as she lay there unconscious. Open your eyes, Coco!
Please, wake up!
The kid grabbed hold of Coco's shoulders and shook her violently. Hey, cut it out! Stop it, kid! I pried his hands off Coco and pulled him away from her. What are you doing? Jackass, calm the hell down! What do you think you're gonna accomplish, huh?
But, Coco, she's gonna... If we don't do anything, Coco's just gonna die!
The kid groaned. The kid groaned in despair. Calm down. There's gotta be something we can do. Don't get crazy. Let's just calm down and think. The kid somehow quieted down. He breathed heavily and glared at me. What do you think we should do, you?
Don't ask me. I have no idea.
Sora, isn't there anything we can do? If we take emergency measures, it might be possible, but in order to do this, whatever it takes, if we don't hurry, then... Yu stopped herself and short of screaming out. Please, Sora, you're the only one who can help us. Please tell us what we can do. You'll need serum. A serum to lessen the symptoms. Serum? What kind? I don't know if it's here or not. What? We ran up the walls and opened the shelf filled with medical tools. Yu repeatedly asked Sora what the contents were as she tore through them. What about this? No. Is it this one? No, it's not. How about this one? It's not that one either. That one isn't it either. Yu dropped the bottle after bottle of medicine onto the floor. Many of them exploded into pieces when they hit. What are we gonna do? What should we do? Answer me, Sora. I am very sorry. Pipi is whining. Pipi came over to me and whined softly. Oh! Sora's face suddenly changed colors. Pipi, bring that over here quickly! Huh? The thing that Pipi... that thing that Pipi has in her mouth, that's it! What? I quickly snatched out whatever was in Pipi's mouth and lifted it up. This? It's the serum! It was a transparent capsule with orange liquid inside of it. How do we use it? Break off the tip and inject the contents into Coco-chan. Okay. You, do your magic! Yu ran over to where I was, grabbed the serum out of my hand. Coco held out a shaking arm. Yu silently inserted the syringe into her arm and administered the serum. After a few minutes, although it was gradual, Coco's breathing became more even, and the tremors in her body had settled down. It looks like it's taking effect. Her condition has improved somewhat. The danger seems over for now. Thank goodness. Both Yu and Sora looked relieved. Yu looked like as if she was going to cry. The kid and Tsugumi said nothing. The kid looked up and let out a big sigh of relief. Tsugumi stared at Coco in silence. Hey, Pipi? Who'd have thought that you'd find the serum? When did you get this? Where did you find it? Oh, oh, oh! Pipi whined pitifully. Alright, 1:51 p.m. Let's have a sip. A lot of excitement. Okay. Alright. Gathered everyone around the LMRI where Coco slept. Sora, tell us what you can about the Tiefblau virus. That's the first time I've ever heard of it. Does anyone know anything else about it? When I asked the question, Yu, the kid, and Tsugumi, even Pipi, all shook their heads. You said that it has a high mortality rate. You don't have any idea how Coco got this, do you? Sora didn't say anything. Look, I don't care if it's only a guess, or if you don't give me the limited data... Wait, or if you give me the only limited data you have. I just want to know. Coco came down with this out of nowhere. It doesn't help the rest of us to be ignorant. You are right. Sora got a strange expression on her face. After thinking for a moment, she gave us a wholehearted explanation. Alright, I'll tell you everything I know about the Tiefblau virus. A heavy silence descended upon the emergency room. Every once in a while, the sensor from the LMRI would sound out Coco's vital signs, the only noise to echo throughout the room. Tiefblau, or TB, was... Sora started talking softly. TB was developed at a research facility under Lemu. It is an extremely deadly virus. At a research facility under us? Yu's eyes opened wide. Yes, there's an installation called IBF directly below us. IBF? I knew it! Tsugumi frowned. Well, it looks like we can get information out of this artificial intelligence after all, assuming the situation is dire enough. I guess if it isn't in your programming to keep a secret when someone's life is on the line. I'm sorry. Please continue, Sora. After shaking her head lightly, Tsugumi let out a sigh. Uh-oh. I hope... Can you close that? Oh god. They're doing... stuff. Alright. Hopefully, the yard work outside isn't too distracting. Continuing. Okay. The management company that built Leimu is Lablick Pharmaceuticals. Their research facility is IBF. 119 meters below Leimu, there were thermal seafloor vents. Living there would be special microbes which couldn't be found in any other environment, and Lablick Pharmaceuticals created a research institute in order to study them. It was called IBF, Institute for Biologische Forschung. I'm so sorry. Translated, it meant the Institute for Biological Research. Thank you! That's for me. Leimu and the research facility. One of the two. The first to be built was the research facility. Building a theme park was apparently just a front. Okay. The researchers at IBF were listed as managers of Leimu and were able to come and go as they pleased. That way, nobody would suspect that there was actually a research facility present. At the same time, they would also get as much needed funds for the research. Wow, that's great. Like Mickey Mouse money for like Pfizer or something. That's crazy. If they set up a successful theme park, they could get pretty much all the money they needed to run the research facility, so Lablick Pharmaceuticals continued to carry out the research into bacteria and viruses on the bottom of the ocean, 119 meters underwater. The existence of IBF is highly confidential. Only a select number of people know about it at Lablick and even at Leimu. IBF and Leimu are controlled by separate computer systems. Even I am only given limited information. I only became sure of IBF's existence after connecting together fragments of information from the accident. Oh. Anyway, there's like a strange and deadly virus called TB and they're doing research about it at some research center under Leimu? That's probably in order to find a cure for TB, right? You are probably correct. In addition, there is a medical center there that is far superior to this one, at least from the information I can gather from Leimu's database. It appears that they have a new type of high-pressure oxygen treatment device. And if we can treat her with that, her leukocyte, white blood cell activity should increase. We should ease Coco-chan's condition somewhat. That might ease Coco-chan's. Yeah, okay, anyway. So, let's see. We might even encounter more of the serum that is effective in stabilizing the symptoms. The orange one that we found previously. IBF, huh? Can we go there? How do we get there? Oh, wait! The kid interrupted with a shout. Wait, this is crazy! Why would Coco suddenly come down with TB? It doesn't make sense that all of a sudden she would come down with that awful virus. Don't you think that's strange? Well, even if we want to help Coco, there isn't any equipment to do that here. The only lead we have for treating her is that research facility, IBF. We'll have to look for reasons afterwards. All we can do is trust what Sora tells us for now. She isn't good enough to be lying to make up something like this, right? I'm sorry for doubting you earlier. I believe what Sora is telling us. Tsugumi smiled softly. Thank you. Sora nodded sincerely. Yeah, I believe her too. We can't just sit back twiddling our thumbs. Let's just consider the best option. I looked at you and Sora and then nodded. Does that sound good to you, kid? Yeah, alright. Alright, okay. So it's decided then. We're gonna go to IBF. It's the only chance we got at saving Coco. However, in order to get to the IBF, we have to get through Himmel, and Himmel's door isn't opening. I don't care, we're going. We don't have any other options. Show me the way. It might not work, but we won't know unless we try, right? Hey, kid, give me a hand. Okay. I picked up Coco's inert body and carried her piggyback. We went to the lift and down to the cramped emergency corridor. Tsugumi and the kid supported Coco, who was on my back from both sides. Sora and Pipi went on ahead, and you brought along a first aid kit just in case. Sorry. We were headed for Dritterstock some 17 meters below, and we made it to the 3rd floor. Oh, we get a special illustration of Coco on Takeshi's back. We ran as quickly as we could to where the locked door was waiting for us. Using all the strength that we had, and all the power of our prayers, we flew forward. Here we are. We all stopped in front of the door. Briefly, I put Coco down and leaned her up against the wall. The kid went up to Coco and lent her his shoulder. Himmel. The door that wouldn't open. Sora, I'm just asking to make sure.
What?
What does Himmel mean?
It means sky in German. Or heaven.
Heaven, huh? They sure had given it an ironic name. So, the question was, how in the world were we going to open that door? Alright. Let me get my little handy-dandy guide. Gotta either ask Sora, ask you, or ask Tsugumi. What do we gotta do? Let's see. Let's ask Tsugumi. Tsugumi, do you think that there's any way to open it up? What are you talking about, Takeshi? I'm racking my brains thinking about the same thing. Oh, right, yeah, okay. After thinking for a bit, Tsugumi asked Sora a question. Do you know what kind of process this door goes through when it opens?
Okay, let me see. After the correct keys are input, a lever embedded inside the hatch should start to raise. After the lever turns, the lock on the door is released. However, the lever is nothing more than an ornament now, and it is turned automatically using electricity, and the motor is usually locked in place.
Yeah, I suppose they designed it so that you couldn't open it up during an emergency on purpose. In that case, she pulled out a flathead screwdriver. Where did she get that from? If we can get that lever off, maybe we can open this up manually. She began to insert the tip of the screwdriver into the gap in the door's panel lines. And... ha! Tsugumi jammed the screwdriver with all of her might. She tried to dig out the lever buried in the hatch by force. The alloy screwdriver crushed like a piece of candy. The lever budged slightly towards the surface of the door. However, slam! The screwdriver bent into 2 equal parts from its handle, and the lever snapped back into place. There is nothing I can do. Tsugumi threw the bent screwdriver on the floor. What next? Alright, let's ask... you! Hey you, is there any way to get around this lock that you know of? Huh, wait, where did you go?
Kuronori, out of the way!
Huh? Turning towards me, the voice coming from a few meters behind me, I saw you throw down the first aid kit she had been carrying. Huh? Whoa! She immediately came hurtling towards me as if possessed. Oh, we get this horrible image again. Wow! She looked furious. I stumbled back away from the door. Aye! Crash! With a perfect flying dropkick, she threw open the panel to the electronic lock. What are you doing? This isn't the time to be goofing off. If it won't open any other way, I'm going to break it down. You shouted as she leaned over panting. That's a little extreme. Well, how about it? Does it look like it's going to open? Ugh! It won't budge at all. Neither the door nor the panel had changed at all. You began hitting the lock with a renewed vigor, uttering strange noises. But all the lock did was make error sounds and asked her politely to re-enter the password. Ouch. And in the end, you ended up with a sprained finger and went back to the first aid kit. Damn, what are we gonna do? Everyone's quiet. Dog whines. Coco was being supported by the kid and she couldn't stand by herself. She was soon hunched over on the floor. I tried pulling her up again, but her face quickly drained of all color. This is bad. If we don't get in there quickly. Okay. An announcement says, Offen Sie die Tür von Himmel. Suddenly, a voice that we hadn't heard before sounded from the corridor. What's that announcement? Someone is trying to access Lemmy's system. Sora flashed open her eyes and shouted, From inside the room! From a terminal inside Himmel! What? The access indicator light from the electronic door lock turned green. The hatch lever raised and turned automatically. The door opened suddenly. 2:19 p.m. A stagnant air poured out from the room. For some reason, the humidity felt like it was lower than outside. The air conditioning was humming quietly. It was white. Pure white inside. The whiteness of the walls and floor were emphasized by the brightness of the lighting and seemed to leap out at us. Himmel, it didn't necessarily seem like a mistake to have been naming the room Heaven. The machines displayed nameplates with Himmel written on them. It seemed that we were in the computer control room. Hey, there's someone here. Did he open up the door just now? There was a single person in the room. He was a man who appeared to be in his 40s, dressed in a white lab coat. And blood was coming from his mouth. He had passed out at a console. Hey, buddy, are you alright? The man didn't reply to me. He just lay there motionless. Who is this guy? Sora, do you have any idea who this is? No, I am unable to verify his ID. But judging by the way he is dressed, it is safe to assume that he is a researcher at the IBF facility. I put my hands on his shoulders and raised him up into a sitting position. I looked over at his white clothing to see if he had name tags or any way to determine his name. But I didn't have any ID card or nameplate to check. Hey, are you one of the staff from the research facility? Yeah, that's right. Breathing faintly, the researcher replied. He seemed unable to open his eyes and search for me by voice. Doesn't seem like you're here to rescue me. With a shaking hand, he grabbed onto me. The hand was covered in blood. So, there were still people in Lemu, and it's been 6 days since... What a surprise. Blood trickled from his mouth, and he smiled wryly. Hey, don't strain yourself. You don't have to talk. I'm so sorry. It's all our fault. What happened? Did something happen down there? But why all this? After that, he was silent. Hey, hang in there! I shook his shoulders, but he didn't reply. Takeshi, cut it out. You're shaking him too hard. He's unconscious. Just leave him alone for now. Okay. Well, we'll have to bring him with us. I wondered what was going on. More importantly, I had to hurry. I didn't have a clue about what was going on, but I couldn't worry about that. We had to get Coco to IBF right away. Yu, who had been waiting at the entrance of Himmel, went inside with Pipi. The kid followed behind carrying Coco. The door had an electronic lock on it, so we left it open. Everyone, at the far end of this room is another room. Can you see it? Yes. Yes, I can see it. We all nodded. There was a room on the other side of the glass in front of us. That is the compression chamber for IBF. Without straightening up, she explained the situation without emotion. Judging from my incomplete data, IBF is enclosed in higher pressure gas than Lemu. If the IBF area is set to what is known as saturated diving specifications, this type of area is also probably more suitable for research with bacteria. The atmospheric perspective of IBF is actually about 12.5 atmospheres. So, I want all of you to enter that room. After you spend about 1 hour in the compression chamber, you'll take the access elevator down to IBF. And I should tell you this as a precaution. You will not be able to retrace your steps easily from this point on. Please give this due consideration. We can't go back. We've got to make a decision. Well, we've come this far. Are we ready? Yeah, gotta do all the side quests. Alright. Let's go. Alright, we're going. I looked at everyone. You, the kid, Tsugumi, Sora, and Pipi all nodded. The kid and you held the unconscious Coco between them. Tsugumi and I picked up the researcher, and Pipi took up the rear. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's a very fine sentence I just said. Alright, everyone lined up at the transparent sliding door at the far side of the room. Sora used the control panel up the terminal to open it up. All of us entered the room together. A single panel of reinforced glass lay in between the control room and the compression chamber. More precisely, a chamber was set in the middle of the room. It had been constructed there. Why does it matter? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay. We brought Coco and the researcher into the room and first sat them down on the chairs. Both of them had ragged breathing, and they looked to be in pain. Their faces were extremely pale and sickly. Gotta get a sip. Okay, we needed to hurry. I would hate to waste an hour there. You and the kid and Tsugumi and Pipi all stood in the room in the open space available. With everyone in there, it was fairly crowded.
Once the compression is completed, the door on the far side should open and you can enter the elevator.
For some reason, Sora didn't enter the room but spoke to us from the entrance.
I will expedite the compression process. It may be a little uncomfortable, but please bear with it.
And saying that, Sora went to close the door.
Hey,
Sora, what's wrong? Why aren't you coming with us?
No,
Come on, let's get started. What are you waiting for? I casually reached out to towards Sora. Okay. Oh. I knew I couldn't grab her, but I did it anyway. However, as soon as I tried to touch her, sparks flew into the air. I felt as though a shock had gone through me. The transparent wall suddenly appeared in front of the door. There was a red wall of flame. What? Alarmed, I drew back my hand and the door closed.
Sora, what was that? From this point on, this is the jurisdiction of a different computer system.
I heard Sora's voice talking to us calmly over the speaker of the compression chamber's intercom.
I am but a single part of the Lamus system, therefore, I am unable to go to IBF. I do not have the authority to access the area. I am sorry, but I will have to see you off.
The wall of fire had vanished. We were in the compression chamber, shut off from the rest of the world. The sound of pumping gas, which was slowly raising the air pressure, could be heard throughout the chamber. Hey, everyone, take out your voice converters. They just get in the way when you're adjusting to the pressure. Everyone did, as I said, and removed their voice alternators. I took out Coco's myself. I checked the researcher, but he didn't seem to be wearing any. After that, hardly anyone said a word. We were all waiting for time to pass. Sora could be seen outside of the chamber's window. She didn't move, only stood and watched us. And then, alright, it's 3:32 p.m. The lock from the door from the far side of the chamber had clicked and released. I felt a subtle change in pressure, and the lift down to IBF opened. We all filed into it one by one.
Everyone, take care.
I could hear her voice from the speaker on the other side of the room, but we couldn't see her, and I wondered if I would ever see her up close again. Cocking my head to one side, I thrust the voice alternators back into my ears. Everyone got aboard the lift, and as soon as the doors closed, the elevator started sliding down. Announcement! TIF 70 meter, 80 meter, 90 meter. What could be below heaven? More heaven? Or 119 meter? The door elevator opened. The passage extended into two directions from the elevator room. I went into one of those. Everything was totally dark, and I could hardly tell where I was headed. Fearfully, I took a step forward. And suddenly, as if someone had noticed our arrival, the lights went on in the room. Is someone there?
I think they just turned on by themselves.
The sensors reacted. The computer activated the lights.
I'm not sure, but it is possible.
It seemed that there was a pool where the small submarine could dock. The pool was a two-layer structure, but there was no sign of seawater that could flow in. It felt a little hot in there, but it seemed as if the air conditioning was still working properly. Perhaps the place was even more comfortable than the flooded Dritterstock. But there was no sign of anyone. Anyway, let's go where we have to go. We opened a watertight door at the other side of the room and continued deeper into the installation. The passageway, the same size of Lemu's emergency corridors, no, maybe even smaller, led off into the distance. For some reason, the whole place seemed colder, less alive than the structure before. and as we continued down the corridor, lights would go on automatically a few meters in front of us. Well, it certainly seemed computer-controlled. As we continued moving, the lights followed us, lighting up only areas around us. The corridor branched off into a few directions, but all of them ended up at watertight doors that were closed. I wondered if IBF was entirely flooded except for one part. Anyway, the number of areas that we could enter was limited. Luckily, we found the examination room right away. I quickly turned the handle and opened the door. You and the kid laid Coco down on a nearby table. Tsugumi and I lowered the researcher down onto a chair. There's a few ordinary beds in the examination room and the same kind of LMRI that we had found in Leimu's infirmary. There were numerous medical instruments that looked like things you might only see in a science fiction movie. I wondered what in the world they were for. I had no idea. Hey, you? Where is that high-pressure oxygen thing that Sora was talking about? How should I know? Tsugumi, what should we do? Well, we'll have to look for it. None of us know a thing about this place. And the researcher is like, ugh! Wait! The researcher coughed as he spoke. Hey, don't move! Are you okay? I've been better, but at least I'm alive. With his eyes closed, he raised his hands weakly in response. This smell. Is this IBF? So, I'm back where I started. So you were working here. Well then, there's something I want to ask you. We're looking for some kind of high-pressure oxygen treatment device. We've come as far as the examination room, but we don't have a clue what to look for. Can you help us, please? Oxygen treatment. Yeah. You're looking for the pods. There should be some alloy capsules with mats set inside of them. They look like a bunch of cylinders stuck to a pillar. Do you see them? Yeah, they're right in front of me. That's them. Hang in there, we found them! Don't waste your energy talking anymore, okay? New blood appeared on the researcher's closed hand as he wiped his mouth. Just take a look at the manual. They should be easy to operate. Sorry, I don't know what's in the manual. Okay, gotcha. With the strength left the researcher's hand. Just before he collapsed, I grabbed onto his shoulder to support his body. Let's put him in a pod, and Coco too. Yeah. Tsugumi and I got on either side of the researcher and supported him. We brought him over to where the 3 pods were, and that's when I pressed the button on one side and the hatch opened. I put him down gently inside. When I pushed the button again, the capsule pod closed again silently. Oh, they're in there! The kid and you laid Coco down in another pod. The hatch to the pod closed soon after. Did you find the manual? Yeah, this is the control panel. You started operating a terminal a short distance away. High pressure oxygen treatment. Set. The screens of the monitors attached to the tubes flickered. Both of the pods seemed to be functioning normally. That should do it. Okay. The condition of the people inside the pods was monitored and appeared on the side of the control panel. Blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, the expressions on their faces were even visible. I watched them for a few minutes. Coco and the researcher, whose name we didn't know. It was a slow process, but they both seemed to be gradually returning to normal. I'm so relieved. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. Well, it looks like we made it in time. Woof! We let out a collective sigh of relief. It seemed as if we had escaped the worst for the moment. Well, we don't have time to hang around, you know? We didn't know if the situation at IBF was any different than Leimu, but there might have been other survivors, or a way out, even communications. We could possibly even find information about TB. It was best to search as much as time would allow. Everyone agreed, so Tsugumi, the kid, and I went around looking for around IBF. You had the most medical knowledge, so she stayed in the examination room with Pipi to look after Coco and the researcher. Alright, 3:54 p.m. Because we were unfamiliar with the area, the 3 of us set out together to look around. We all walked around IBF, but Since there was only a few places, there wasn't much to see. Almost all the corridors had been blocked off, and there were many doors that didn't open, and I tried forcing one of the doors. A terrible smell came pouring out, so I hurriedly closed it again. From what I saw in there in a brief moment while the door was open, a few researchers covered in blood had died while clawing at their throats. I really didn't want to think about what happened in there. It was hard to imagine that the situation had been the same or worse at what happened at Limu. Another room was empty of people. There were a few computer terminals there. Operating the terminals, we were able to scan through some of the information left there. There was some information about Tiefblau. Name, Tiefblau. Symptoms, fevers, chills, headaches, aching muscles, loss of appetite, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pains, etc. As it progresses, the patient begins to hemorrhage from the mouth, gums, conjunctiva, nasal cavity, the skin, and the alimentary canal, and has a high probability of dying. Death rate after contracting the disease, over 85%. Symptoms first appear similar to that of a common cold. While they may temporarily improve, the patient's condition will again rapidly deteriorate, resulting in hemorrhaging. Incubation period, normally 2 to 7 days. How many days have we been here? After that point, all the data was corrupted and it was not clear what else was written. Other than that, we came across some interesting information by accident. In the corner of a business log, IBF Visitor Registry, Yagami Koko. Koko's name had been listed. Looking further into the file, there seemed to be a personal memo written by somebody. I get to see my daughter for the first time in a while. Her school is on vacation, so she has a 10-day break. I've been trapped for so long in this tin can doing virus research that I'm jealous. That aside, when I told her that special permission had been granted to let her come down to see IBF, she sent me a happy reply saying that she would. We've exchanged mail every once in a while, but I wonder how long it's been since we've actually seen each other. I'll just be happy if she hasn't forgotten what I look like. T.Y. T.Y. I thought that they were probably the initials of Dr. Yagami, Koko's dad, which meant that Koko had visited IBF once before May 1st to meet her father. Alright, it's 4:23 p.m. We didn't find any survivors in the IBF. The kids, Tsugumi, and I went to the examination room. How are they doing? Yeah, it looks like they're doing okay for now. You looked tired as she sat down and faced the pod's control panel. I looked at the monitor showing vital signs. Blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, they all seem to be stabilized for the moment. Oh yeah, Kurinari, I checked out the medical database on this terminal earlier, but... I hesitantly asked you. Yeah? Did you find something? Yeah. It looks like they still haven't found any definite way to treat the Tiefblau virus. Although the symptoms can be temporarily treated by injecting that orange serum, otherwise, the only other option is to hope that the small chance that it will clear up by itself. Oh, that sucks. Huh? Wait, what do you mean? You had trouble finding the words, so Tsugumi took over for her. Well, basically, if Koko is going to heal, her immune system is going to have to work a little harder. We've brought her to the treatment pod, so all we can do now is hope. Yeah, that's all we can do. No. Koko isn't going to get better? The kid looked as if he was about to cry. Nobody said that. Whether she gets better or not, it's up to Koko's will to live. The kid walked over to the pod where Koko was sleeping. Koko! Koko! He started to cry, latching onto the pod as though he were embracing it. We still don't know how much this pod is going to help Koko. Yu murmured softly as she read the life signs on the monitor. It seems that this pod can also do laser disinfecting as well as simple surgery in addition to the oxygen treatments. And depending on how you use it, even cryogenic suspension. Cryogenic suspension? What's that, Yu? I'm not sure. It was just in the manual. We don't really know what's going to happen. All we can do is have faith and wait. Excuse me. I don't know where that came from. Everyone's quiet. Pipi whines. Beep! A sharp alarm sounded from the control panel monitor. Not knowing what it was, we all looked at the monitor at once. The kid ran over to where we were. Ah! An agonized expression came over the face of the researcher. He thrashed and contorted inside the cramped capsule. Ah! Hey, man! The researcher coughed violently and clawed at his throat. His hand and the area around his mouth were stained red. The color quickly drained from his skin. His breathing became shallow as he groaned in a low voice. No! I can't believe his condition would change like this! Hey, man! Stop grabbing your throat like that! You'll crush it! He slowly lowered his hands, which had been thrashing at his throat. Hey man, are you alright? No! This is as far as I can make it. The researcher was barely breathing. He was trying to breathe. He let out a gasp, but wasn't able to bring in air. This is my reward. You pored over the manual, desperately searched for the searched the control panel, but there was nothing she could do. There was no way to keep him alive. She pounded on the manual. She placed both elbows on the panel and covered her face with her hands. Ah! She burst into tears. Tsugumi and the kid gazed at the monitor with strained expressions. The researcher's vital signs were getting weaker. My daughter. Take care of my daughter. He looked as though he was smiling, and his eyes closed. He would never move again. Beep. The life readings in the capsule pod went blank, and an electronic alarm sounded for what seemed like forever. We couldn't save him. We didn't have the power to save that man whose name we didn't even know. Everyone's quiet. I reached out my hand to the panel and turned off the alarm. How is Coco? Normal, you replied with a voice filled with tears. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong for the moment. Okay, thanks. We'll have to make sure she gets that he gets a proper burial. Yeah. Everyone was motionless for a while. Proof of how serious the situation was lay right before our eyes, but time rolled ever forward. We didn't have any room to play around. Dragging my legs, which seemed suddenly very heavy, I went to check all the areas in IBF once again. We had to find a way out as soon as possible. After searching again, the only thing we realized was that all the escape pods were gone. The researchers had probably used them to get out. There was no deep water diving gear, no oxygen tanks, meaning all the routes of escape had been cut off. We were quickly approaching the earliest estimated time for Leimu's implosion. It was almost May 6th, 4:30 p.m. Alright, it is 4:42. We finished making our rounds. Oh, at p.m. The kid had gone back into the examination room with you and Coco earlier. Tsugumi and I were talking in the corridor. It looks like we don't have any options. Yeah. So, what do you want to do? What do I... I'm thinking about it. Really? Tsugumi smiled lightly. You really like to waste your time, don't you, Takeshi? This isn't wasting time. Sorry, but it seems like seems just like something you'd do. Thinking about things that are impossible? When I said that, Tsugumi puffed up her cheeks. No, I don't mean that. Why do you have to tease me? I never thought I'd hear you say that. I have no idea what to do, but I'll find a way out of this somehow. We've made it this far. Tsugumi laughed at my efforts to sound positive. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. Sure, it's gonna be alright. Sound roared in the distance. It was probably being transmitted through the water to IBF where we were. Was it the sound of the thermal vents? I wondered if Leimu was still hanging in there. Although the situation we were in didn't look too great, there were still various options available to us. Hey, Tsugumi? About that old guy. The researcher? Too bad, huh? Yeah, I was thinking, why was he the only one left? Sorry. Why was he the only one left here? Everyone else got out earlier, right? Besides, those guys that didn't make it. Well, I'm sure the kind of circumstances kept him from escaping, and the circumstances that kept him alive. Circumstances? Do you remember those entry logs we found on the terminals? Yeah, there were a few of them. Ah, wait, are you saying you remember that journal entry we found? Oh, it was him. His last words had been, "Take care of my daughter." I think that was Coco's dad. T.Y. Dr. Yagami, huh? He probably knew that Coco was here when the accident hit Lemu. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Maybe he survived because he was thinking about his daughter. Leaning against the wall, he watched where the waves that he watched the waves that were calmly lapped in the pool. What do you think about Coco's condition? Why did Coco get TB anyway? Well, Coco had been to IBF at least once before May 1st. Maybe there was already an outbreak of the TB virus at that time. What? TB's incubation period is about 2 to 7 days. That's consistent with the timing of Coco's symptoms, isn't it? Yeah, I guess you're right. When Coco came to IBF, she was probably exposed to TB somehow. Nodding to myself, I figured that had to be the most probable possibility. However, everyone at IBF probably didn't realize the terrible truth that TB was spreading inside the installation. When they found a few people that had been infected, they must have panicked, and the situation got out of hand. As people started dying, the staffs here tried to escape, and when the escape pods ran out... Wait, that means... That alarm we heard on May 1st in Lemu was... I couldn't stop myself from asking, and Tsugumi frowned and continued. Probably one of the terrified staff members forced their way up from IBF to Lemu. Without following the standard decompression procedure, they opened the emergency corridors and fled up to Incel Null. Those corridors remained open for a while. The built-up gas inside the complex quickly escaped, which brought down the pressure, and a section of Lemu started flooding and the watertight door closed. And that's how we ended up getting stuck here? Yup, that's right. Meaning the alarm that went off in Lemu was the abnormal installation pressure readings from the virus outbreak. You could say it served a couple of functions. I can't believe it! All I could do was sigh in frustration. Is that the reason no rescue team is coming here? I'm sure that's it. With a solemn face, Tsugumi nodded. If the TB virus got out into the world outside, it would be devastating. So even if we were survivors in here, it would be necessary to lock them up at the bottom of the ocean. Lablik Pharmaceuticals may have been trying to hide the fact that there was an accident at all, knowing all the while that we're trapped here. I kicked a dirty old bottle that was at my feet. It landed in the pool and started slowly to sink. And then I walked around, making stomping sounds as I went. The sounds of the feet echoed loudly off at the walls in the narrow corridor. Well, if that's the case, then... Well, you know, that means that we've got to get ourselves back up to the surface no matter what. Why is that? So we can tell the media what's about all that's happened here, that's why. We're going to put it to Lablik. No matter what, okay? Okay. That's more like the Takeshi I know. Puffing out her cheeks slightly, Tsugumi looked at me. Really? Yeah, me too. I want to go with you, Takeshi. Together. Huh? Did you say something? It's nothing. For some reason, Tsugumi's face was red. Huh? I felt strange, and suddenly stopped. I looked up. Takeshi, what's wrong? Tsugumi followed my gaze to the ceiling. There was nothing there. She returned her gaze to me. I'm not really sure, but For some reason, it's hard to breathe all of a sudden. Takeshi, your nose is bleeding. You've got a nosebleed. Huh? I quickly put my hand to my nose. My upper lip is wet with something. Hey, are you okay? Tsugumi looked worried at my face. It's fine, it's fine. I looked up and wiped under my nose as I replied. I wasn't thinking about anything sexual, absolutely positively. It's not like I don't care about that. Well, alright then. My nose wouldn't stop bleeding. I look like such a dork. Who cares what you look like? I care. Looking like this in front of you? Huh? What? Come on, what? Tsugumi started shaking my shoulder. Achoo! I let out a huge sneeze. Splat! Blood flew out, not only from my nose, but also from my mouth in large amounts. It splattered all over the floor and onto the wall. Whoa! Suddenly I was assaulted by dizziness. The world felt like it was spinning. For some reason, I can't keep steady. Although I didn't feel so great, it seemed funny for some reason and I laughed. What's up with this? Takeshi, hang in there! Huh? Quit shaking me, it's making me feel real sick. Sorry. No, I'm fine, don't worry, Tsugumi. No, you're not fine at all! You're bleeding all over, Takeshi! You need to get to the examination room and we need to get you looked at right away. Yeah. It wasn't a good situation. I needed to get a hold of myself. I tried to calm myself down. With Tsugumi supporting me, I walked over to the corridor. Just then, a door flew open in front of us. It was the examination room. Out of it flew you. Tsugumi, Kurenari, the kid! The kid is in bad shape! Her face changed color as she shouted. The kid? What's wrong? He's in trouble. It'll be faster if you can come and Ah! Oh no, Kurenari, you too? You noticed the shape I was in and her face turned pale. Takeshi's too? What are you talking about? Alright, 4:57 p.m. The kid was sleeping on the LMRI table. His results from the scan came up on the control panel's monitor. Tiefblau, 2017 Rev.17. The kid has been infected with Tiefblau too. How could this happen? Why? He's been with us the whole time, so why did he get... What? Where did he get TB? I muffled to myself, finding it hard to breathe all of a sudden. Takeshi, just calm down. None of us know where he got exposed to it. Couldn't possibly be Coco, guys. It's fine. Takeshi, I want you to get scanned too. Why? Just let me scan you, please. This isn't normal. To start spewing blood from your nose and mouth, okay? Yeah, I know, but... Tsugumi gently took the kid off the LMRI examination table and forcefully put me up on it. Pressing to both of my shoulders, she forced me to lay down on the table. You don't have to do that! Fine, I'll let you check me! I brushed Tsugumi's hands off of me. See? I'm lying down now. Okay, you, please start the scan. Okay. You started operating the control panel. The scanning light from the laser crawled slowly up my body. After a while, the scan's finished. What does it say? My voice cracked when I asked the question. At least say something, you. The results are... You stared at the panel without moving. The result is positive. You're infected too, Takeshi. Tsugumi read the monitor for me. What? Really? I'm sorry to say it, but... Since coming to IBF, no. It must have been longer. Since coming to Lemu, all of us have been infected for quite some time. Tsugumi hung her head and let out a big sigh. Damn it! I stood up from the LMRI and was assaulted by a terrible dizzy spell. Whoa! Takeshi, watch out! The one to steady me from falling was the kid, but from the looks of it, his legs weren't steady either. Putting my hand on the wall, I somehow held myself up. We're in trouble, huh? You can say that again. Only we had that serum, that orange one. Ugh. Kid pressed his head to his face. He wiped his mouth. I noticed a thin trail of blood there. Yeah, the serum. If they'd been handling TB here at IBF, they should have some of that. If we use that, then the symptoms should lessen. I went around the examination room and checked to see if I could find it anywhere. Tsugumi and you hurriedly started checking through the medicine cabinets. The kid sank to the floor. He didn't look very good. His breathing was ragged. He had lines of pain etched in his face. It's no good. He doesn't look like It doesn't look like there's any here. I couldn't find any either. The two of them started shaking their heads. Damn. What are we gonna do? Woof woof! Hey, Pipi. Seems like you're doing pretty well. Without me noticing, Pipi had come up and was darting around my legs. His tail was wagging frantically. Suddenly, he dropped a few small objects from his mouth. Woof woof! Where did you get these? What's wrong? Ah! You ran over to where we were. This is the orange serum! Picked up the fallen objects in front of Pipi. It was a small capsule, a capsule with orange liquid inside. 4 of them had fallen on the floor. Where did you find that, Pipi? How does this dog know? What is this? What are we doing here? Dog finds medicine. Okay. I didn't know if he'd understand me, but I asked Pipi anyway. Woo woo! Pipi shook his head from side to side. Were there any more of these? Woo! He shook his head. This is all of them? Woo! He nodded. Well, we needed to take these immediately. Sorry, but get these ready. You're the only one who knows how to give shots. I found some syringes over there, you. Okay. We gathered all the cartridges of serum from the floor and put them on the bed. Looking slightly doubtful, we prepared the syringes one at a time and gave Kid and me our shots. Phew! We can relax for a while now. Thanks, you. You're welcome. Sitting with his back against the wall, the kid gave you a thumbs up. After that, he smiled and closed his eyes. He must have fallen asleep. Tsugumi and I carried the kid over to an empty bed. What do we do about Coco? She's still undergoing oxygen treatment, so we can't open the pod. It looks like the treatment is progressing normally. As long as she's in there, I don't think her condition will get much worse. As soon as it's done, let's give Coco a shot too. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, you should probably give yourself a shot too, don't you think, you? Huh? No, The next shot had already been prepared, but for some reason you was stalling. Suddenly she started coughing. Hey, give yourself a shot quickly! But She couldn't stop coughing. Her arm that held the syringe started to shake. Breathe deep. Her coughing finally stopped, but her hands wouldn't go still. What's wrong? You aren't feeling well? You want me to give that shot to you? No way. I don't like shots. Huh? You didn't have any problem sticking everyone else. You don't like getting them yourself? Yeah, 'cause they hurt. You puffed at her cheeks stubbornly. What are you talking about? Your life is on the line here. You don't have a choice, so give me the syringe. Ah! Reaching out quickly, I latched onto Yu's arm. Tsugumi, hold her down. Roger. Tsugumi forced Yu to sit on the bed and held her so that she couldn't move. Hey! What are you doing? Ouch! Stop complaining. I grabbed onto Yu's arm and stuck the needle into it. Hey! What do you think you're doing? You're sticking the... Ah! You got it all wrong! Not there! Ah! Stop mangling me! Ah! Stop! Do more slowly. Well, stop squirming around so much. The angle's all wrong. You're going to get air bubbles in it. Stop complaining. You can't do it yourself. You suck. Shut up. Ow, stop it. Let me go. I'm dying. Ow. You idiot. We're trying to give you this so you won't die. Tsugumi slumped her shoulders. Yu was throwing a tantrum like a spoiled child. Small droplets of red stained the white sheets of the bed. After that, Yu got scanned with the LMRI. As suspected, she had come down with TB. We didn't have room to mess around anymore. In the end, Yu wouldn't let me do it, so she ended up giving herself the shot. Complaining the whole time with tears in her eyes. 5:30 p.m. Okay. I'm not sure how long our condition will hold up with just one shot. Hey, you. Do you think you can do anything after it stops working? She was sitting at the computer terminal, silently typing on a keyboard. You, tell me what we can expect. Don't talk to me. I can't concentrate. Alright. Trying my best. But someone has put a lock on the communications protocol and we can't make contact with the surface. But every once in a while, I found some communication data that crosses through. If I can release the lock, or, well, anyway, we might be able to get through this somehow. At least it's better than Lemu, where we had no way of making contact. Alright, show me what you got, genius. Alright, okay. I left you for a while and I went to look at the monitor attached to the capsule pod. Tsugumi came over next to me and looked at the monitor. How is Coco doing? She's in a serious but stable condition. Really. According to the monitor, it would be 4 hours before Coco could leave the pod. The pod was full of high-pressure oxygen and couldn't take Coco out of there until the time had come. We should probably get the kid into a pod, don't you think? Yeah, let's get it ready. But for some reason, we couldn't get the hatch to the furthest pod to close. It wasn't easy, but I took the dead researcher out of his pod and set him outside. Dr. T.Y. He was dead. But it looked like he was smiling at the end, but his expression had betrayed his agony after all. It was probably best that Coco hadn't seen her father's dead face. Tsugumi sterilized the pod and finished cleaning up. I shook awake the kid who was sleeping in the bed. Hey kid, the pod's ready. Wake up. Takeshi? He slowly opened his eyes. Sorry to wake you, kid, but I need you to get in the capsule pod. What? He opened his eyes wide at my words. What about everyone else? There's only one pod that we can really use, so you get in. No way! What? Forget it! Why should I be the only one to... I just can't abandon everyone! It's not like that. It's about how sick you are. You're the most serious case after Coco. Still, forget it! Once I'm in the pod, I can't get out for a while, right? No way. I want to stay by Coco. Getting up out of bed, the kid staggered quickly over to Coco's pod. I'm not moving from here until we know that everyone's getting out. He clung to the pod. I thought about trying to pull him off, but he seemed absolutely determined not to move. You stupid brat, what the hell are you saying? Forgetting my own exhaustion, I began shouting at the kid. Don't you want to escape? If you want to get out, you have to listen to me. If you get any worse, even if you get in the pod, it might be too late. But... Listen, there's only one more shot of that serum left. I pointed to the orange capsule left on the empty bed. So... What? Wait, why is there one left? All of a sudden, the questions flew. Hey! What? You turned away from the terminal as well. What are you talking about? That cartridge is for Coco, right? Tsugumi mumbled with her face slightly turned away. So, that's it. Everyone's gazes finally rested on Tsugumi. You know, Tsugumi, I haven't given you an injection. Yeah, so? Tsugumi mumbled with her eyes averted. I had forgotten before. I injected Kuronari and the kid with a shot. Then I got busy, and then... So, out of 4 of the shots, we still have 1 left. Getting up from the terminal, Yu spoke acidly. How are you feeling, Tsugumi? You're not in pain? Come to think of it, Tsugumi didn't have any symptoms. She didn't have any signs of the TB virus. I dredged up Tsugumi's old words from the depths of my memory. Highly improved immune system and decreased metabolic efficiency. Telomeres that had continued to rejuvenate. It couldn't be. Tsugumi, I want you to get scanned right away. Curie virus P carrier. Tsugumi's genetic makeup had been altered by Curie, giving her incredible regenerative powers against illnesses and injuries. Tsugumi had also been infected with TB, but she's also already been able to make the antibodies and drive out the virus. Curie. Tsugumi had gone beyond the normal human capability. She had mentioned that she was special. Successful cases of genetic manipulation were probably exceedingly rare. Curie. Looking at the results from the LMRI scan, Yu nodded. I found it in Leimu's database, but I'd heard about it once before. I never would have thought that you're a carrier of the Curie virus, Tsugumi. I don't care if you hate me. Hate you? Why would I? Well then, are you scared? You're scared of me, aren't you, Yu? You're probably thinking that you don't want anything more to do with me, right? I wouldn't think that. Yu shook her head fiercely. Why? Why would you say that? Well, Tsugumi bit her lip and said, because I can be here and I don't have to suffer. It could be that I'll just watch all of you throw up blood eventually, when you're crawling on the floor, I'll be laughing at you. Because I'm just a cruel person like that. Yu couldn't look at Tsugumi in the eyes. I don't think you're like that. Clutching Coco's pod, the kid spoke up. I don't think you're a bad person at all, I mean. You're the one who saved Coco, right? You risked your life to save someone. Yeah, so what? To tell you the truth, I regret it now. Coco is suffering from TB now, isn't she? She's stuck in that pod, and she's suffering. If I hadn't had the stupid whim to do that, this would not be happening right now. The kid turned away from Tsugumi. Tsugumi! Stop it right now! I yelled at her with all of my might. I ran over to her and grabbed her by the collar. Are you still talking garbage like that? Saying things that you don't really mean? I mean it. Stop lying to yourself. It isn't a lie. It's the truth. I'm the only one who isn't, the only one who TB isn't affecting is me. Ha! I let go of Tsugumi. So, how about it, Takeshi? Are you ready to accept the truth now? Tsugumi is probably just pretending. And she smiled and looked up at me. Yeah, it's an indisputable fact. Fine, I'll accept it, but you might as well help us get it better. What did you say? Just then, Tsugumi's expression became serious. Well, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really tell, but smallpox, penicillin, snake antivenom. You're pretty smart, so this should make sense to you, right? No way. It is our only chance. Your body is creating antibodies to the Tiefblau virus, so we'll use that. If we can get those antibodies, then there's a small chance that we can fight off the Tiefblau. It is too dangerous. Tsugumi's expression was getting more and more worked up. Do you have any idea how hard it is to make antibodies and vaccines that work? There is almost no chance. If you can make even the slightest mistake, it could kill all of you. And if we don't do anything, we're dead anyway. She sucked in her breath. Without moving, Tsugumi's expression turned to ice. The Yu and Kid are not saying anything. The Yu and Kid, who had been staring at the ground the whole time, raised their heads and looked at me. That's right. If we don't do anything, we're dead. And if that's the case, it's better to take the risk no matter how small our chance of survival. Splash! Damn it, not another nosebleed. A nosebleed, and I'm coughing up blood. I can't believe how lame this is. I wiped off my nose and chin. What? You're not gonna laugh at me for being such a dork, Tsugumi? Come on, laugh, Tsugumi! I held out my hand towards her. It was covered in blood. Stop it. Stay away from me. Stop. I don't want to. Shaking her head fiercely, Tsugumi backed away. Kurinari! Shh. Yu was moving to stand up, but I lifted a hand signaling her to stop. Listen, Kurinari, Tsugumi! She opened her mouth to talk from where she was seated at the terminal. There's a simple lab in the back of the examination room. I saw a centrifuge and a machine for refining serum. We could possibly use that to safely and quickly extract the teeth glow antibodies. If this can scan for teeth glow, it can probably scan for antibodies and extract them. She continued to talk in a low, calm voice. Tsugumi, please help us. I'm asking you. Stay away from me, Takeshi. Don't touch me. I had backed her up all the way to the bed. You want to live with this disease? Once you get the Cure virus, you can't go back. Do you have any idea what you're in for? She couldn't go back any further. Tsugumi searched for the bed behind her with her hand. Ooh, this is like a different image of Tsugumi that we've never seen, I think. With the tip of her outstretched hand, she brushed across the only dose left of the serum. But we don't know that the Cure virus will infect everyone. Even you! You said that you were special, right? Please, I'm begging you. Please, let's just take a gamble so that everyone can live. I stood quietly in front of Tsugumi. My legs were unsteady. My vision was hazy. But I stepped forward strongly and stood up straight. I looked deeply into Tsugumi's eyes, and I was trying to look inside to see what lay behind them. You won't be able to stay with people anymore. I don't want everyone to live with the pain that I have. Large tears welled in her eyes. I hate myself! Smack! I slapped Tsugumi on the side of her face. She clenched her jaw tightly against the pain and glared at me. Just then, I pounced at the remaining dose of the serum, stealing it out of Tsugumi's hand. I took it and smashed it into 1,000 pieces on the cold, hard surface of the examination room floor. Crash! It let out a sad little sound and splintered into powdery fragments. What are you doing? There's no other way. We've only got one option to us now. You idiot. Do you know what you've done? You didn't have to do that. You know I can't fight you. With her lips trembling and her shoulders shaking, Tsugumi sank down on the bed. Yeah, I know. You jerk. You animal. You're a coward. She nestled up close to me and began to cry. I don't care what you say. I don't care how much you curse me. Ugh! You idiot. You idiot! If you mess this up, I'll never forgive you, Takeshi. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I promise you, we're all going to get out of this, okay? Ugh! Ugh! And she starts wailing. She raised her voice in a loud wail. She started crying like a small child, and she threw away everything that was holding her back and cried with everything that she had. Mew started operating the terminal. The refining machine whirred to life. The scanner also started to move. Wiping away her tears, she stuck out her arm. Mew gently took her arm and drew some blood. The whole time Tsugumi held onto my hand. She continued to cry, letting out sobs occasionally. My consciousness started to fade. I lost all sense of time. It was hard to tell if this was a reality or a dream. Was I alive? Was I dead? Where was the me that was thinking about all these things? It's fine now. I think it worked. I've prepared the shots. So next, it's up to you, Tsugumi. If you don't wake up from this, I'll never forgive you. Not as long as I live. Tsugumi, where are you going? Well, I left a friend of mine upstairs. I've got to go meet him. My best friend. Jungarian hamster. His name is Chami. Chami? See you. Alright, 9:15 p.m. Oh, it's getting spookily close. I woke from my stupor. A cold, stale feeling. I realized that I had been sleeping sprawled on the floor. I slowly raised my body. I tried opening and closing my fists. Strange. The moment left me with an uncomfortable sensation like it wasn't my own. I shook my head. I tried slapping my cheek. I breathed in the cold air and then breathed out. Strange. From the inside of my head stayed dull and murky. I dragged myself to consciousness, forcefully reeling myself back into clarity. Putting my hands on the floor, I pulled my heavy, aching body. My feet faltered. but somehow I managed to stand. I looked around the infirmary. I saw several used syringes scattered on the floor. The kid was slumped against Coco's pod. He looked disturbingly bad, just completely out of it. Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen. I wondered where she had gone to. Yu was slumped over the terminal console, snoring away. She looked as if she was in some pain and was perspiring in her sleep. Her hand had been pushed against the panel as if she was in the middle of typing. On the monitor, Otto repeated strands of letters that were lined up without meaning. I don't know what I was looking at. What the? I heard a strange sound. I reinserted my voice converter into my ear. It wasn't a problem with the converter. Come in. IBF-3, please respond. This is an emergency rescue team from the Maritime Defense Force. We are being directed by Incel Null. Was I actually hearing someone's voice over the speaker? I hurried over to the terminal and removed Yu's hands from it, taking over the control panel. Hello? This is the IBF Infirmary. Over. IBF-3, I repeat, this is the Maritime Defense Force Emergency Rescue Team calling from the control center at Incel Null. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, loud and clear. I was somehow able to force out an answer. The voices spilled out from the other end of the line. Hey, there are survivors down here. I can't believe it. That's amazing. That's what I wanted to say. It seemed like you had been able to restore the communication lines. We're sending a rescue team immediately. Can you access the pool in IBF-3? Yeah, it should be fine. Do you know how many survivors are there and where they are located? In the examination room there are 5. No, 6. 6. I copy. The rescue team is headed there in a private sector salvage vessel, and when it arrives, I want you to follow the directions to get out of there. And how long till they get here? They're going about as fast as they can, but it'll take about an hour. 1 hour. Coco will be able to get out of the pod by then. I just hope that we had that long. However, if something goes wrong, there should be a small deep exploration submarine left in the research facility. I hate to make you do this, but I want you to escape to that area. Something goes wrong? What do you mean? Leimu's partition strength threshold is already being exceeded. If one section explodes, there is a risk that another area could collapse and start to sink. If that happens, we think that there's a high possibility that heavy pieces could crash down on the research facility. You don't say. Of course we're doing everything that we can to get you out before that happens. We're heading there no matter what, so please hang on a little longer. Click. The communications cut out suddenly. Hey, wait a second! I hit the call button repeatedly, but there was no answer. Damn it, we can't open communications from this side. I didn't have any other choice. I began reading through the manual on the side of the communication terminal, a mini-sub for deep exploration. We hadn't found it when we searched the place. Ah! There it is! Following the instructions, I used the control panel to call up the information on the monitor. It's a small electric submersible. A submarine was in a separate sealed sector attached to the IBF. The specification said it was a neutral buoyancy miniature submarine for saturation diving. The important thing is that it could be brought over to the pool by remote control. If things get dangerous, I guess they want us to board this. I quickly went about setting up the remote control program so that we could move the submarine at a moment's notice if we had to. Alright, all we have to do now is get Tsugumi and Sora over here. Sora? How are we gonna get Sora here? I was overcome by unease. Boom! Suddenly, a low metallic sound reverberated through the complex. The sound seemed to come from above. An alarm sounded from the terminal, and the screen changed. Warning! Flooding has occurred in Leimu. Leimu? This is bad. This means Tsugumi and Sora. I ran out into the corridor. It was only slight, but the floor was trembling. Ah! Suddenly, it became dizzy again. Losing my balance, I crashed into a wall. It seemed it wasn't completely recovered yet. I wasn't completely recovered yet. I didn't have any idea if antibodies are working or not. Not a clue. I still gotta go. I have to go. I mustered all the strength I have and staggered towards the elevator. As soon as the door opened, I flew into the lift. The elevator headed up. 90 meter. 80 meter, 70 meter, upwards. The elevator stopped. Forcing the door, I slipped into the pressurization chamber. The entrance had closed automatically. I pressed the intercom button repeatedly. Sora! Sora!
Kurinari-san, what are you?
Hey, it's been a while. I realized how much I had missed that voice. I waved to Sora as she appeared outside the window.
What are you doing here?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I came back. What's the damage?
There's flooding in Zweiterstock. The warehouse area has been breached and the cracks are beginning to form in the elevator shaft. The situation is serious. There is over 15 centimeters of flooding in almost all of the corridors.
Where's Tsugumi?
She's trapped in the infirmary.
What about the door?
The electronic lock has been released, but it won't open because of
the water pressure?
Yes. Kurinari-san, I'm going to start decompressing the chamber.
How long will it take?
It will complete as soon as possible.
I need to know how much time.
If I hurry, 12 hours.
12 hours? We don't have that long.
If you don't dissolve the nitrogen in your blood, you will get decompression sickness.
I don't care. Open that door now.
I can't do that.
If we don't act fast, Tsugumi is dead.
If we open that door now, due to the rapid decompression, the nitrogen in your bloodstream will form bubbles, causing blood clots in the worst case.
I don't care. Open that door now.
I can't. It's too...
I found the emergency escape lever inside the chamber and I pulled it. I kicked open the door. Kaboom! There was a horrible noise as all of the air inside had exploded. My body was thrown from the room alongside the high-pressure gas that had built up inside. I was tossed like a piece of confetti, sliding around along the floor and all the way to the control room. My body crashed heavily against the wall. Ugh! 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 Pain racked my body. It wasn't because I had smacked into a wall. Although I kept spewing out of my breath, it felt like the air was bubbling in my lungs. A terrible exhaustion. My whole body felt strung out. My eyes felt swollen and painful. The muscles in my limbs began to jerk and spasm. Numbness, pain, headache. I felt like I had no room to move. Ugh! Ugh! According to According to astronomers, humans could live for a short period of time even if they were thrown out of a spaceship into space. But fish brought quickly from the sea depths to the sea level died instantly because the pressure difference caused their organs to burst. So was I an astronaut or...
Kurinari-san, your voice converters!
I felt splitting pain deep in both ears. I repelled by my eardrums. Sorry. Wow. Bad. Repelled by my eardrums, the voice converters flew out of my ears. I hurriedly held both ears with the palms of my hands and knocked them as though I was trying to drain water from them. I couldn't hear what Sora was screaming. All I could do was lie on the floor trying to suck in air, like a fish that was pulled from the water. A few minutes had passed. The earphones that I had been wearing had broken in half. I got up weakly. I saw the extra voice converters on the edge of the console. I crammed them in forcefully into my ears.
Kurinari-san! Kurinari-san, are you okay?
Tears welling in her eyes, Sora looked at me with a pained expression. Okay, I'm still alive. At least my eardrums hadn't burst. I left Himmel and started heading up. I checked on my screen on my PDA. It showed the map of Lemu and was blinking dot showed where Tsugumi is. From the console at Himmel, I installed a program to link my data into Lemu sensors to my PDA. Sora had prepared it for me. How convenient. Don't stop me, you hear? No matter what you say, I'm going. Excuse me.
Alright, Kurinari-san, it seems like you've made up your mind. So I'll stay here in Himmel to keep track of the situation at Lemu and send you updates out to your PDA. I'll do what I can to stop the partitions from falling, to see if this place can stay together even just a little while longer, so promise me that you'll come back here with Komachi-san.
Yes, that's a promise. Running up the stairs, I looked down at my PDA again. The cranking station! The sign of life would, there was a life sign in the infirmary that wasn't moving. The map showed the surrounding corridors were flooded, and that there was no way to access the area. But I knew what I had to do. The area I wanted to go was filled with water, but because of the watertight doors had shut on all sides of the floor, the water had stopped flowing. In that case, I thought I could make it. I went to the emergency corridor leading under the infirmary and dove in. How many times had I gone back and forth down that corridor? My PDA black light shined a weak light in the area before me. Even then, I wondered how many more meters it was, but my body remembered. Even if I closed my eyes, I could still make it there. I turned off the light, propelled myself forward through the darkness. I wouldn't let the darkness overtake me anymore. It wasn't something that I would run away from or be afraid of. I would take the darkness inside me and make it my own. That's why I wasn't afraid. There was nothing to be afraid of. Splash! Entering the room from the hole in the elevator shaft, I quickly climbed into the infirmary. Tsugumi! Tsugumi! She was in the corner of the room, hugging her knees together. At her feet was the slightly wet furry figure of Chami. Takeshi! Why? Why? Tsugumi looked at me with her eyes wide open. What are you so worked up about, Tsugumi? I came back to pick you up. I came back for you. Well, I guess I'm a bit late, but I scratched my nose. You idiot! What are you doing here? Do you want to die? One after another, large tears started falling from her eyes. Listen, I was laughing as I spoke. I came back for something I forgot. Yeah, that's it. You forgot? Picking up Chami in both hands, she stood up slowly. Yeah, left it here. Silly me. My irreplaceable, more important to me than anything else, friend. How did you get here? She looked at me as though she still couldn't believe I was actually there. Well, I'm a good swimmer. Actually, I swam down and back in a 25-meter pool once. I kicked off the wall coming back, but still. I waved my hands to dismiss it. Wait, I think I just beat my school record. Hey, do you remember the furthest we've ever swum underwater? 51 meters? She answered and her expression began to break down. Yeah, you think I'd die in a place like this? I mean, I still haven't gotten enough abuse from you yet. I want to hear what you've got to say from here on out. Ugh. So, I came for you, Tsugumi. Takeshi! Takeshi! We ran to one another, reaching out our hands. We came together. I gently wiped the teardrops around her mouth with my... Whoa, hold on. I gently wiped away the teardrops around her mouth with my lips. And in the center of the infirmary, we held each other close, embracing firmly. Riding on both of our hands, Chami snorted and looked at us. Alright, let's go back. Together. Okay. Tsugumi softly held Chami and hid him inside the chest of her clothing. We had no time to lose. It was a matter of time before the place collapsed in on itself. We had to hurry. I knew that, but I wasn't in a rush. We would make it. I'd never say quit. I'd never say it was too late. I knew it was going to be okay. Pulling on Tsugumi's hand, we flew like the wind. Kuronari-san! Komachi-san! I've prepared the chamber for you. Get inside quickly! I opened the other side of the sliding door and rushed to the other side of the glass. We went in the compression chamber for the IVF. Slouching back in a chair, Tsugumi struggled to catch her breath. I didn't think that I would be able to move for a while. Sora's outside. Sora! You're coming too! What's wrong? You can come no matter what. The door of the room shut automatically. The compression started. Sora! Sora stood silently outside of the chamber. Sora! I started to open up the door. Once again, I reached out to the emergency lever on the side of the door. But she just stood there, without moving. She wouldn't make it. Water. Water was flooding into Himmel's control room. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. Gotta take a sip of water. Her image broke up and disappeared. The fog enveloped Sora, covering her over. She disappeared without a word. An hour later. The room on the other side of the compression chamber had already filled with water. The compression finished. Tsugumi and I transferred to the lift and went down to IBF. As soon as we entered the room, the lights came on. It's quiet. Yeah, you're right. The flooding above us had been fairly advanced in the area. Perhaps some of the sections had started to collapse, but the surface of the pool hardly even rippled, as if there was nothing going on. I wondered how much longer the place would hold. Ah! What's wrong? The time. We're past the scheduled time. It is 11:03 p.m. What schedule? Actually, there's a rescue team on its way. Rescue? Yeah, they called themselves the Maritime Defense Force, I think. Yu was able to open up a communication line to Incel Null, and I turned the handle to the door of the examination room. The lights came back on in the room. Ah! They're not here. Nobody's here. Tsugumi searched around the examination room and she checked each and one of the capsule pods. I also did a quick search of the room. Coco's pod was open. The manual for the control panel was open to the same page. I used many bottles of serum laced... Sorry. Oh, this is long, but I'm gonna keep going. The used bottles of serum lay strewn on the floor. Yeah. You, the kid, Coco, that researcher, they're all gone. Where did they go? Tsugumi was starting to panic. Hey, hold on. I'm sure the rescue team found them. Just then a voice that I recognized came over to the speaker. I hit the talk button. Tsugumi was next to me staring at the monitor. This is Incel No Control. Please respond. This is the examination room in IBF 3. Over. Thank goodness, that's where you were. A little while ago, we got a message from the dispatch team that they couldn't find you. You had us worried there. I'm sorry, I was out for a bit. Weird. We were able to rescue the other 3 people in the examination room, and they are being cared for in the salvage vessel. Is everyone okay? Can't say for sure. Their conditions were serious. We're fighting against time. The submersible is going to surface soon, and we'll transfer them to a floating medical center. Okay, take care of them. How many people are there with you? 2, including me. There's 1 person that didn't make it. Roger, we'll send the team back as soon as we can. But there's a possibility that the team won't be able to approach IBF if it starts to break up. We've got the exploration vessel standing by. I can call it here by remote control, right? Yeah, but I'm sorry to have to ask you to use it, but there's nothing else that we can do. We'll do the best that we can. Whatever happens, hang in there. Roger. Click. The communications cut out. What's that supposed to mean? You weren't listening? It means all this would be for nothing if everyone died while they were waiting for us. The rescue team decided to put a higher priority on getting you and the kids and Coco to the hospital rather than waiting for us. Yeah, you're right. The color in Tsugumi's face slowly returned to normal as the sense of panic had faded. Well, I might as well take a nap until the next bus comes. Bus? If you think the bus is going to be late, call a taxi for me, will you? Taxi? What are you talking about, Takeshi? If you push that button, a small submarine will come over here by remote control. Our very own private taxi should come here from another area of the IBF. Okay. Anyway, I'm just glad that everyone's alright. Yeah. The adrenaline that had kept me going earlier suddenly ran out. I'm just so glad. Takeshi! My legs suddenly gave out. My head struck the hard surface of the floor. Before I could feel anything, I slipped into a deep sleep as Tsugumi held me in her tight embrace. A soft warmth surrounded me. Ooh, I think that's snowflakes. It's probably impossible to see. Light. I felt that I had overcome an immense distance, the end of the darkness. A soft light soft white light surrounded me. There was nothing else for me to look at. There was nothing below me, nothing to support me, but for some reason, I was at peace. I was floating steadfastly. I was swaying freely in the center of a gently drifting water. I could hear something faintly, the first sound I had heard in all my life. Yes, it was the sound of a heart beating. I remembered. I was surrounded by the gentle sound of a beating heart. There was no greater feeling of peace than what I had felt then. How long would I be able to stay there? I didn't know. I knew that I would have to leave this place at some point. I would have to let go of that fragile bond soon. But I wasn't sad. If that time must come, darkness cleared again. And out of it would come a new world where I would resolve to be reborn. Good morning. It's a picture of Tsugumi. Woohoo! I was lying down in bed. Right next to me, Tsugumi was staring at me. She was squatting next to the bed with her eyes level at mine. We stared at each other, eye to eye. What time is it? That was the first thing I could think to say. Well, Tsugumi took out the PDA from my pockets. The batteries are dead. She pressed the buttons, but nothing appeared on the screen. Oh, you want me to go check on the clock on the terminal? No, that's okay. Just stay here with me. Okay. There were tears in Tsugumi's eyes. How are you feeling? That's a dumb question. Just tell me, how are you feeling? Tsugumi held my hand softly. The feel of her soft skin seemed like it would pull me in. I don't feel so good. My body feels all tired. But I guess it could be worse, I guess. Okay. I tried opening and closing the hand that was free in front of my face. My movements were still sluggish. Your cut doesn't hurt? Cut? You fell over and I tried to stop you from falling, but I didn't get there in time and you split your forehead, Takeshi. Tsugumi opened her glossy lips slightly and murmured. I could see the tip of her red tongue. Forehead? Split? Hey, you don't remember? Slowly I looked around the room, the ceiling, sheets, the empty syringes on the floor. Okay, I remember. I touched my forehead lightly. That gash must have been split wide open. There were stitches there. No big deal. Something like this ought to heal up, right? But I'm so sorry. Why are you apologizing? It isn't your fault, right? It isn't anyone's fault, so don't worry about it. I patted Tsugumi on the head. I was alive. Even though I banged up pretty good, I was alive. Besides, it wasn't a big deal. Uh-oh, May 7th on a Sunday, uh-oh. I looked around the room once more. There was no one else there, just the two of us, and the silence. It was almost too quiet to believe. Where's the bus? It doesn't look like it's coming. How about a taxi? I've already sent for it. Communications? Since that one, we haven't had any. I could see the monitor. I reported that the remote control guidance was working normally. It would take about an hour for it to reach our pool. But it seemed that the submarine was making its way without any glitches. Oh. I guess that leaves us some time to relax until the taxi gets here. Wouldn't do us a bit of good getting worked up over it. Yeah. Even if I had wanted to, my body wasn't doing what I wanted it to. I felt like I was running on low batteries. I was exhausted. I couldn't think straight. I had gone beyond the limits of my strength and spirit. Huh? I noticed something had brought my face closer to Tsugumi. What, Takeshi? Takeshi, I almost pressed myself against her and brought myself close to her face. What? Her cheeks, which had puffed up from crying, had started to turn red slightly. I'm hungry, I murmured, pulling my face up close. I feel like I could just eat just about anything. Really? And guess what, Tsugumi? What? Tsugumi's face had become redder and redder. There's just the most amazing smell coming off from you. Huh? Her eyebrows arched as if she was annoyed. Hey, you're not hiding anything, are you? Food? I reached out for her chest. So stop it! She quickly covered herself with her arms. You aren't going to eat Chami, are you? You can't. I won't let you. As if I would, stupid. Don't call me stupid, stupid. Her expression returned normal. She undid a few of her buttons and let Chami out from her shirt. I'm sorry for keeping you in there the whole time, Chami. It's okay, you can go play now. Chami sniffed the air and rode in the palm of Tsugumi's hand. He suddenly jumped to the floor and ran into the corner of the room. I watched the whole time. Takeshi. Tsugumi spoke to me as she redid her buttons. You were watching, weren't you? What? What do you mean, what? When I was... Did you want to see more? More what? Forget it, you jerk. Gong! A low vibrating sound shot across the room. The bed shook slightly. It's okay. She looked up for a second, then quickly returned her gaze. Don't worry, alright? We're okay for now, I think. Yeah, we'll be fine. I know it. I don't have any proof, but... I'm even starting to talk like you now. There must be something wrong with me. Ah! I sat up quickly, and I grabbed hard onto Tsugumi's hand. What is it? I know, Tsugumi. What? This is incredible! What are you talking about? Flustered, Tsugumi's cheeks changed color in confusion. I have made a major discovery. I brought her hand close to me. Tsugumi's face went right next to mine. Alright, listen up. Okay. I know where that great smell is coming from. It's... you! Huh? What? You're what smells so great. Jeez, you smell good. What a sweet smell. Perfect. Let me just have one bite. What are you doing? Stop it! Let go! Let go of me! Ow! You idiot! Cut it out! Smack. Ow. Hey, did you really have to smack me? Well... Hey, I'm an injured man here. Well, act like one and lie there quietly. Jerk. What were you thinking, biting my finger like that? My teeth had left an imprint on her finger. Thank you. I'm still hungry, but I feel a lot better. What the hell? I couldn't keep sitting up, so I lay down in bed again. I can't believe you did that. The tears that had dried up just a bit ago were in Tsugumi's eyes again. I laughed at the situation. There wasn't much strength in me, but I laughed anyway. I'm a man of insatiable desires. When I get hungry, I stuff my face. When I get sleepy, I sleep like a bear. And give me the chance, I'll be thinking about hanky-panky. It's all I think about. I'm beyond salvation, right? Yeah. So stupid. I tried to smile. She tried to smile back at me. Her voice dried up, and tears began to fall. I'm such an idiot. Come on. Laugh at a fool like me, will you? Yeah, you're an idiot. Tsugumi laughed. You are the world's biggest idiot. I can't believe how stupid you are. And it never stops. How did you ever get to be so dumb? She was smiling, but her tears wouldn't stop falling. No reason, I guess. I'm just trying to live it all out, because I don't want to die. Really? That's it? Her tears continued to fall. I think there were some things that I was taking too lightly. There are people who go on living even when they want to die. There are people who want to die who want to keep on living. Who are going to die that want to keep on living. I had no idea how that's how things were. I guess I was pretty naive about the way the world works. Until coming to Lemu, that is. But then I met you. And the way that I thought about these things changed. The world isn't always filled with good things. Yeah, she nodded, calmly wiped away her tears, but I don't want you to think that living is something to be embarrassed about or something that you should hate. I think that as long as you're alive, it's okay to live. I think that there are good things waiting for you. Wait, not just that, but being alive is a good thing in itself. In that way, my thinking still hasn't changed. Yeah, she nodded. We held out each other's hands. I don't know how to say it, but I looked towards the heavens that I couldn't see, and I didn't know if there was something above. I didn't know if it really mattered. Maybe all I had to do was accept what was there. The reason we keep living, in other words. What does it mean to die? Does everything really end when we die? Until you can really stare reality in the face, I think we should wait. Put it on hold. It's not my time for me to die yet. I just can't die yet. And you can't either. And neither can any of the rest of us until that time comes. All of us should live. Yeah. She nodded as if in deep understanding. Oh, they're holding hands now. Hey, Tsugumi? What? I stared deeply into her eyes. I was trying to see if there was any light inside there. I wanted to get as close as I could and see. Hey, you're bleeding from your finger. Well, you bit me earlier, right? Is that so? Yes, that is so. I'm sorry. Tsugumi's face was close enough that we were almost touching noses. Closer. Even closer still. Ah! Now what is it? You've got blood on your lips. Really? That's not my fault. Are you being serious? Blood? Yeah. You're lying? Maybe you're right. Maybe it's from when the building shook earlier. It looks painful. Well, if it hurts, it's your fault, Takeshi. You think so? Yeah. Maybe you're right. I don't even know what this conversation is. How are you going to make up for it? She pressed her lips tightly onto mine. I could smell her scent. I could taste her blood. Taste her tears. She bit down on my lower lip, and blood started to flow. Okay. We were pressed together as tightly as we could be, embracing one another with everything we had. Our bodies came together and became one. I felt her breath. I felt her pulse. I felt the warmth of her body. A fragrant smell wafted from her neck, a musky smell. It made me slightly dizzy, but it was sweet. Such a sweet smell. All right. Takeshi? Takeshi, get up. The taxi's here. Okay. Oh my god, this couple. I jumped out of the bed and stood up. I stretched my arms and loosened my shoulders. It felt pretty good. I took a deep breath as I fixed my clothes, that rumpled during sleep. My mind was firing and my head felt clear. Chami, come here. Come on, we've got to get going now. Tsugumi scooped up Chami, who had been running around the floor, and held him to her chest. Huh? Bending over, Tsugumi let out a cry of alarm. What's wrong, Tsugumi? Takeshi, under the bed. Under the bed? Mine? She nodded. I looked under the bed that I had been sleeping on. Something was lying there. I reached out and pulled out whatever it was closer to me. What? Pipi. It was Pipi. Hey, Pipi, what's going on? What are you doing here? Pipi didn't respond. All of the color had vanished from his eyes. He didn't move at all. Pipi was frozen as if he was dead. There was something stuck in his mouth. I took it out gently. It was a disc, a terabyte disc made of polycarbonate. I put the disc Pipi had been carrying in my pocket. Boom! With a roaring sound, the whole room suddenly shook violently and my body vibrated. I don't know what this says. 5 Minuten vor der Implosion. Hey, what did that announcement just say? Okay, so the screen is shaking. You probably can't see it because that's how it is. Anyway, holding Pipi under my arm, I looked at the ceiling. Tsugumi quickly got up. We've got 5 minutes until this place implodes. 5 minutes? Give me a break. Why do they gotta tell us when there's only 5 minutes left? Give us some more water, for crying out loud. I started mumbling complaints to myself. Maybe it was mostly for show. Ugh. Tsugumi let out a big sigh. Anyway, we've only got 5 minutes. Tsugumi shrugged her shoulders exaggeratedly and stared at me, but for some reason she seemed to be smiling. You've got to accept reality. You could learn something from me, you know. Listen to yourself, Tsugumi. Telling jokes at a time like this is more my style, don't you think? Well, I guess you're right. I guess we should be fine if we've got 5 minutes, right? Alright. A smile floated to her lips and Tsugumi held out a hand to me. Of course. I took her hand firmly. Dear Minuten von der Plosion. Sorry, I fucked that up bad. Shaking and rumbling of the IBF continued. Woo, it's shaking a lot. This is making me dizzy. I could hear the sound of water rushing in and striking against the watertight hatches somewhere. Ominous metallic sounds rang out from above, and I wouldn't have been surprised if the ceiling had suddenly ruptured, but still, we ran without stopping. We were running to get out of there. I held on to Tsugumi's hand the whole time. Her body moved fluidly as she ran. We ran in sync with another. I don't know why this always happens, but it doesn't matter. We passed through a door that stood wide open at the end of a passage, and at the top of the pool, which looked like it was threatening to overflow at any moment, our mini-sub was waiting for us. Yes, at least something's going right. The taxi was even waiting for us. Well, of course. Tsugumi looked at me with a smug face and said, It is a taxi. They're not going to just leave us with high-tipping customers here. Yeah, you're right. Oh no! What's wrong? I forgot my wallet. You idiot. Well, we'll put it on your tab. Okay. Yeah, in Labelix name. Well, of course. 3 Minuten vor der Implosion. Sorry. 3 minutes until implosion. We scrambled into the sub and jumped down the hatch. The controls were simple. We closed the hatch on the top by pressing a button. The submarine slipped out of the pool and into the middle of the ocean, and the ocean currents quickly pushed us out to sea. Away from the sinking Lemu. Yes, Lemu was, paradise was, our home for 7 days was. Warping, flooding, folding in on itself like some kind of crumpled old newspaper. It scattered as it collapsed like a child's wooden blocks that hadn't been stacked properly, letting out its final breath of bubbles. It disappeared to the bottom of the deep blue sea. We were moving up. In the small fragile egg that we were floated in quietly towards the surface. Oh, okay, I fucked that up. Doesn't matter. What do we do from here? Oh, we get a happy, smiling Tsugumi. Tsugumi asked in a quiet voice. There's so much that I want to do. I answered as I placed the motionless Pipi on the seat next to her. I hate this! I'm sorry. Okay. Wow, even in death, Pipi's great. Okay. Alright. Okay, but first, I'm thinking more about where to start. What about you, Tsugumi? What do you want to do? What, you didn't like the question? No, it's not that. Can I have a minute to think about it? Sure. Wham! What's that sound? I don't know. Beep beep. The operating console made a funny noise. What's that noise? No clue. Hey, something just came up on that screen over there. The monitor behind Tsugumi started blinking. What does it say? You're closer than I am, so why don't you turn around and take a look at it yourself? No, I don't want to see it. I've got a really bad feeling about this. Don't be selfish. Not left with any other choice, I peeked at the monitor. Which one? Which one? Low battery. That's what it says. The lights in the sub suddenly went out. The monitor went dark. All of the power went out. The electrical equipment went silent. The only thing still working was the analog pressure gauge. Depth, 63 meters. Internal pressure, 12.5 atmospheres. The submarine was set up to saturation diving specifications. The pressure on the inside was higher than the pressure on the outside. Takeshi? It's okay. We're going to be fine. Stop looking like you're about to cry. 64 meters. We had lost our upward momentum. The submarine began sinking slowly, very slowly. Our residual air pressure, 0. Ballast tank, unable to drain. Wonderful, we hitched a ride in a junker. You know, this cab always seems to stall on these country roads. I'm terribly sorry, esteemed passenger. 65 meters. I looked at the aft hatch. It had a 2-ply hatch. The inner side was made of reinforced glass and FRP, while the outer shell had a door made from high-strength steel. Hey, you think if we let some of the high-pressure gas out of the hatch, we'd start rising again? No. I don't think we'll go straight up and our momentum would be limited. Not to mention the fact that if we do that, we'll start flooding. Because we don't have a spare compressed air. We don't have enough buoyancy in the main fuselage. Buoyancy? We've got to get rid of the ballast. Ballast? 66 meters. The valve used to release ballast is usually electronically controlled. But now It's okay, let's just stay calm. Judging by how fast we're sinking, we only need a little bit lighter, right? If we can get rid of a few dozen kilograms, we should be fine. How much does a hamster weigh? Why not try pulling out a few of those machines over there? That looks like that would make us lighter. You think that's going to be easy? Well, they seem to be welded on fairly well. Probably not easy to do barehanded. And unfortunately, we don't have any tools. So that's it, huh? Tsugumi bit her lip and looked down. Yeah, we're screwed. 67 meters. Sinking. We were sinking. It looks like we had celebrated too soon. Doesn't it? Her shoulders shook from disappointment as she laughed without conviction. So stupid. I'm so stupid. Ah! She audibly sucked in her breath. What are you doing, Takeshi? What? You can't tell by looking? I'm opening the hatch. That's why I'm asking, what are you doing? Do you even need to ask? 68 meters. Stop it! What are you planning to do? Tsugumi grabbed onto my arm. Don't try and stop me. I threw off Tsugumi's arm and raised the glass hatch. It was just large enough for one person to go through. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me. No! I won't let you go! Tsugumi grabbed onto my arm firmly. The hatch was closing. I don't care if I die. I'm not letting go. 69 meters. Slowly, but steadily. We couldn't stop sinking. You know, you really are selfish. I thought for a bit, and I slowly opened my mouth. Hey, Tsugumi. Do you know what the Archimedes principle is? Huh? For a moment, Tsugumi's grip relaxed. In that brief instant, I tore myself forcefully away from her grasp. I opened the glass hatch and slipped to the back of the airlock. I jumped inside, and it was surprisingly easy to close the hatch from within. Once the hatch was closed, I shut the latch right away. 70 meters. Oh, we get to see Tsugumi, and she's crying. Tsugumi was stunned. Her eyes had opened as wide as they would go, and she stared at me from the other side of the glass. Takeshi! Takeshi! What are you doing? Open it up! Get out of there! Tsugumi wildly pounded on the reinforced glass with her fist. She tried as hard as she could to pull up the lever, but she was unable to. Tsugumi, what are you saying? The glass is pretty thick, you know. I really can't hear very well. You stupid idiot! Open it up this instant! What are you thinking? Tears started falling from Tsugumi's wide-open eyes. Drops fell in a constant stream. Her tears and her fist pounded against the glass. The glass creaked as she hit it. 71 meters. Hey, wait a second. Didn't you? I thought you knew about the Archimedes principle. I mean, I think you're the one who taught me about it. I guess you'd know that. Sorry. This isn't funny. Stop joking. It's not about that. You fool, Takeshi. You idiot. Tsugumi sobbed as she screamed. Yeah, I'm an idiot. The biggest one there is. You didn't know that, Tsugumi? 72 meters. No matter how hard she pounded on the glass, it didn't break. The hatch wouldn't open, and it wouldn't break either. It looked fairly sturdy. It made me feel good to know that it would hold. Well, anyway, gotta make sure this little egg stays afloat. Put one hand behind me on the other hatch. If I could open it up, she'd be safe. I slowly turned the handle. Takeshi! Tsugumi stopped hitting the glass. No! Do you really want to die? Don't worry. I didn't look away as I spoke to her, and I said firmly, I may be stupid, but I'm not that stupid. 73 meters. I kept turning the handle with my other hand, just a little more. Please, don't leave me. Don't leave me all by myself. There you go. Always worrying. I forced a smile. I keep telling you it's going to be okay, right? Yeah. You want to live, don't you? Yes. So live. As long as you're alive, live. Don't worry. I'm not going to die. 74 meters. The hatch on the bottom of the submarine opened. The air, which had been compressed in the airlock, was jettisoned into the ocean. My body shot out like a bullet into the water. And we get another special image of Tsugumi. I could no longer hear her voice. In the middle of the ocean, her voice wouldn't carry to me. On the other side of the glass, I could make out her blurry outline. Tsugumi's face was covered with tears, broken with sadness. Her image refracted through the water. 75 meters. I grabbed onto a rail outside of the submarine and steadied myself. I closed the hatch outside. I couldn't see her anymore, but I wouldn't be able to see her again. 76 meters. I let go of my last source of support and kicked the sub. Released from its support, my body went flying like into a jet black ocean filled with sparkling fragments of light. 77 meters. My consciousness was floating. But my will steadfastly clung to my body. It was still there. Even if it was threatening to turn to dust, even if it was threatening to be torn apart, live as long as you are alive. That's what I wanted. Maybe it was just stubbornness. I was sinking to the bottom of the ocean. My field of vision filled up with white bubbles heading up towards the heavens. I closed my eyes slowly. That was when I realized for the first time that I was there. I'm here. I am here. I am here. My body dissolved in the ocean, mixing with it, becoming one with it. Oh, we get a movie. Ooh. Looking at the control room. Life reading. 1. Dun dun dun! Ooh! Hooray! It's the end of this route. Who's that? Remember when we killed that hamster? Woohoo! Hooray! That's the end of this line. But what does it mean by having one life reading? What do you think that's all about? Uh-oh. This story is not over yet because you are in the infinity loop. Okay. Well. Cool. Alright. So that's the end of Tsugumi's story. There's a lot more left. I have to go through everyone else's endings and then I can get to the true ending. And so this is gonna be a while. I'll probably stream again tomorrow. And wow, this is almost 3 hours, so God. Alright. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining.